it was like $280 a month for the subscription services. And I told her, I'm like, look, how much these things cost at this point is none of my business.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay for it.
I'm gonna be
Just
there.
remember when you're in Rome. Just be like,
Right.
Hulu.
Yeah, it's none of my business.
What a clap. Who was that in the back? That was.
I think it was Madeline.
Shout out to. Welcome back to the Macrodosing Pod. It is Thursday, August 8th. Happy birthday, Mom. Yeah, my mother was born August 8th, 1835. I'm just joking, Mom. You're beautiful. You're young. You're vibrant. Live your life. Miss you.
I love how she, I think it was her that commented on one of the coffee posts, and she was like, don't be stealing all my stuff.
yeah. Because she has a stash at my house that she always kept that I don't ever drink. She's like, I just get a little stash. So when she comes over to the house and stays there, she has something to drink in the morning. And once I discovered coffee, I ran through that shit. And so don't worry, Moms. It's re-upped. I got you.
Isn't your birthday in August, too?
It is August 24th. I'm about to be 38.
Plenty of Stella Blue around here. Just throw some in your bag.
No, so Big Cat sent. So shout out to Big Cat, man. Appreciate you, dog. I'm gonna send a picture. I'm gonna tweet it and stuff and do like an official like thanks for sending
Hashtag
that.
Stella Partner.
Yeah, are we Stella partners?
Well, they're Big Cat's brand, yeah. I don't know if that's
the podcast.
I don't know if they're I don't know if that's even a
No
thing.
free
I'm just
promo,
saying
even
you're
if it's the homie. No, I'm just joking. He's the homie. Free promo. So he sent this massive thing of coffee. But the thing is, when you're a new coffee drinker, is I don't know how to use it. You know what I'm saying? Like the only thing I know right now is pour Folgers into a filter.
You're doing Folgers?
That's what my mom has at her stash.
You're
That's all I know, bro.
No.
I know I'm entering. Like I said, I'm entering an entirely different world. I get it, but when you get a whole box full of different assortments and variety of coffee, I don't know what it's like. It's very intimidating because like there's all these different words and I don't know what none of them mean, and it's gonna take me time out of my day to research on how to consume this stuff. So it's a little bit of work, but I appreciate the plug.
I would guess. Did you open it and like see what's in it?
Most of it.
So were they like little cups?
No, I didn't see any cups. There's a bunch of bags. But
Okay,
there might be
so
cups
it's
in the
just the
boxes I
beans.
didn't
like
see.
light roast, medium roast, dark. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's
He
like
probably sent iced coffee too.
I'm sure that there's something like that in there.
Yeah.
There's like basically tea bags of iced coffee, so you can basically
Steep it.
But you don't
steep
fuck
it
with
yourself.
iced coffee yet, do you?
I had it. Excuse me. I had it 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago, and somebody at the bar office brought it to me, and it was cool, and maybe it was just the way it was made. You know what I'm saying? I'm not down on it. It just wasn't my
Not your thing.
my
yet.
cup of tea.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Yeah, I'm down to give it a try.
Did you think it tasted like pretty different? Because to me, the taste is radically different.
It
from
does
hot
taste
and
different,
iced.
but it's my brain is wired to we like coffee now and it's hot,
Right.
and so when it's cold, it's throwing me different places. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like a weird switch up.
Yeah, I don't like iced coffee.
Oh, you don't like it?
It's basically all I drink, unless
Iced
it's
coffee.
super
Is that iced
super
coffee?
cold. Yeah.
I think most people, I'd say like 80% of people are heavily, if not exclusively, iced.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
80%.
I think it's most people now do iced.
I think it's more refreshing.
Iced coffee versus hot coffee percentages. That's
Your
gotta
coffee journey is kind of like mine was with weed when I first started.
be- How so?
Like you going into the coffee aisle feeling a little overwhelmed. I'll go into a dispensary feeling a little overwhelmed. They'd be like, "What kind of weed do you like?" And I'm like, "The kind you can smoke." I don't care about anything else.
Check it out. According to a 2023 survey, 48% of respondents prefer hot coffee, while 18% prefer iced coffee. However,
Really?
iced coffee sales have been increasing, with 24% of consumers surveyed in 2023 consuming iced coffee daily, up 7% from 2022. So it's like
That's generationally though.
it could be.
I think if you looked at like millennials and younger, I think those numbers would be way higher.
this is it. So cold drinks also account for 60% of Starbucks beverage sales,
Yeah.
even in the winter.
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that. I wasn't aware. So iced coffee may be the thing. I'm mad because you gotta look out professional podcasters, man. I swapped iPads with a guy in security, and so like I pull out my iPad.
Security here?
No, when I flew into Chicago.
Oh,
I guess it was when I was in Houston. Yeah, it was when I was in Houston. So I pull out my iPad on the plane, and I'm like, this feels different. You know how your shit feels different?
Mm-hmm.
The weight was off, and I opened it. I was like, what the fuck is? And so I thought it was the dude. I was like, is yours? He's like, no, I don't have an iPad. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, where's my iPad? So I look in my bag. It's not there. I'm like, did I? Fuck. And so then I looked through, and I realized, okay, I grabbed the wrong iPad. That means he grabbed mine, or somebody grabbed mine. So I just started doing a whole bunch of investigative journalism. There was a few alerts he had on his phone from Facebook. And so I don't have Facebook, so I have my mom on the case. I was like, listen, see if you can scrounge around and see the show. Bro, she came back with all the information, where he works, what his name is, all this shit, where he's traveling to right now. I'm like, yo, this is crazy, Mom. You're actually insane, actually. But yeah, so he ended up pinging his iPad anyway, and I called him, and we got it squared away.
have you ever seen that? Do you do TikTok or no?
I got TikTok just because my dad keeps sending me TikToks. It's just hilarious.
There's one woman on there that her whole thing is like, if she has haters in her comments, they'll be like, you can't do shit about it. So she'll go into like their videos and figure out their exact address based on like a picture or two. It is remarkable how good she is at it. I'm like, why are you like just being a stay-at-home person and doing this all day instead of working for like the CIA or some shit?
Skill set. I think Jerry was on last episode. We was talking about that. There's this guy on Instagram who people try to stump him, so they'll just take a picture of a random place in the world and he has to figure out where it is. Due to all these different factors, and it's crazy how he does it. Like where the sun's at, how it's hidden.
He does a lot by like light poles. Like he memorized like light poles and like all over the world. That's where crazy. It's from, and trash cans, like all those little things he picks up.
That's crazy, man. Couldn't do no stuff like that.
Even like tiny little islands. They'll show like a little cliff and be like, oh, that's Trinidad.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn, dude.
Do you think we've got to have people like that working in the government?
Oh, 1,000%.
Like that's their only thing.
Yeah, they probably look at that dude like, look at this guy.
Yeah.
He's like 15 miles off here. What a pussy.
Yeah.
But it's also why the whole like the government spying on you thing, it just, of course. Like, of course. It never bothered me because I'm like, of course they are. Why wouldn't they?
Well, I agree and disagree with you. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But that also, why does that not bother you?
What am I going to do about it? They have drones.
You can be upset about stuff that you can't do anything about.
I'm just not upset about it. Like, because, like,
that's being a sports fan. That's
Or,
all I do is be upset about things I can't do anything about.
Do I feel like it's invasive? Yeah. Do I feel like it's an inconvenience to me? Nah. Like, I just don't think I'm into anything. And I know I already hear people like with the retort. I understand like, well, that's just a small step. What if? I get it, yeah. But it ain't there yet, so I just don't buy. Couldn't care less.
That's how they get you.
I agree, and I don't care if you sell my data. Sell it.
I'm not mad at that. I think the bothersome thing to me about that is we pretend like it's a free market. Right, but the amount of head start that these major corporations have, no mom and pop has a chance in the world to ever garner any kind of like large scale success because of that. And so that's what bothers me about that. But other than that, that is what it is too. Like, I'm just a cog in the wheel going along, man. I found coffee recently. It is what it is, you know what I mean? But I wanted to get your thoughts on this, chap. The Tim Walz pick. For VP. I wanted to get your thoughts on it. I know you probably think he's a communist and shit, but I want to get your thoughts on it.
I think he's the most common person to be on a big ticket since probably Jimmy Carter.
I agree 1,000%.
Like this dude, I mean, going at him for being a radical leftist, I think is crazy. Like he's a public school teacher, football coach, Midwest dad, was in the Army for 24 years. Like this dude is not some California liberal. But I think his speeches have been good. I like the policy of every single kid got school lunch and breakfast in his state.
That's why Fred Hampton died.
I mean,
That's crazy.
he increased the total GDP of Minnesota, where it's like number 6 now. That's crazy.
And this is why I want to bring this up. And I agree with you 1,000%. I want to bring this up because I know Big T for team purposes doesn't like it, but you gotta agree this is great right here, right? So they've been doing some digging on him. Walz doesn't own a single stock, according to financial disclosures and confirmed by a spokesperson. Same goes for his wife, Gwen, per tax filing. His disclosures, both from his final year in Congress and his time as Minnesota governor, also show no mutual funds, bonds, private equities, or other securities. No book deals, no speaking fees, or crypto or racehorse interests. Not even real estate. The couple sold their Mankato, Minnesota home after moving into the governor's mansion for below the $315K asking price. Even if you don't agree with him,
So where's his money?
I think he's just a regular dude so far.
But regular people have a 401k or something.
Yeah, not having a 401k is irresponsible.
Could be, but I don't know. I don't have all those answers. But the no stocks thing to me is great.
He's not in anybody's pocket.
Yeah,
basically.
or nobody's in his. You know, what I mean? And that's what it looks like to me. Now, this could be a cover for sure. Right?
I think if you said he had no individual stocks, but he has, a 401k and an IRA, whatever, I would say, yeah, that's great.
Right.
Having nothing makes me dubious.
I'm not saying he's Jesus, right? I'm saying on face value, we can agree that is a pretty good slate as a politician, or for politicians that we're used to. That's a pretty good starting point. That baseline, that's what a politician probably should have in a background. No?
Yeah,
I think
that's
minus
fine.
the 401k and like
That is a little I
bit,
didn't even think about it.
But
yeah, you're
the
right
stocks
about that,
and shit like that, I think that should
be mandatory.
And if anything, I think once you go into one of those higher level of office, your stock should be frozen. I don't know if you have to sell them all off, but they should be frozen until you leave office.
I love that. I just, the fact that
You don't want people to give up their wealth if they have it. Nobody wants to do that. Like sell it all and hit a tax, like big time tax bill. You don't want all that, but freeze it.
You saying I don't want that for somebody?
What, for them to lose all their wealth? I think if you do that, you shorten your pool of who would be qualified to go in. Because if you're a wealthy person, most people don't want to give up their personal wealth for their family to go into public office.
But see,
that.
To me, that's the perfect reason as to why you should.
Sure, I think that's
public
a
service.
great idea.
It's a public service. So it's like, why are you doing it?
Yeah, but I also think that as a dad, if I was going to run for public office,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not giving up everything.
I hear you. Yeah. Practically, it's probably not.
Right.
So it's not very.
But also, I don't think you should do like Pelosi and Marjorie Taylor Greene does and make all kinds of money based on
No.
your stocks.
MTG's losing money hand over fist.
Now because of
she bought CrowdStrike.
Yeah, but
So she's not insider trading.
she was until she did when she got the big benefit, and now she's like, "Eeh."
Yeah, I
Yikes.
mean, she acquitted herself of insider trading, I think.
Yeah, I guess you could say she got.
Or maybe
her
she got a bad
losses.
tip.
Yeah,
That's what it sounds
A
like.
really
bro.
bad tip.
I mean, it happens.
or
bro.
or they just fucked it up, and everybody. I mean, that's got to be a brutal spot to be the CEO. Like going on TV and everybody hates you. Like across the board, everybody was mad at that company.
Yeah, it is what it is. But speaking of good tips, I don't know if he would be comfortable with me saying his name, so I won't. But Big T got a homeboy. Me and him chilling in here. We over here talking about politics. Post show, we're just hanging out, being fellas. And out of nowhere, he goes, "Hey, the 1500 is about to start for the gold medal." He said, "I got a buddy who used to run, and he knows a couple of guys in the races. He's like, he's really set on this guy here. He said he thinks he's gonna win." And I'm like, "All right, bet." So I open my betting app thing. DraftKings.
Shout out.
And I had $300 left in there from like some old bets because I'm not in Chicago, so I can't bet that much.
Yeah,
And so I just had like $300 left, and I was
because
like,
of the freedom in Texas.
yeah, because of all the freedom that they give me in Texas. You know, I typed in Pornhub the other day, and it said that Texas is trying to make more regulations on porn.
Where you got to sign in with your ID.
Yeah. And I'm like, come on, dog. So I went to X videos.
There you go.
Shout out to X videos. So anyway, So his buddy hit him, and I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll do it. I wanted to clear the account anyway. I like fresh starts, and so I just put 300 on Cole Hocker, right?
Shout out Cole.
Shout out to Cole Hocker. So me and Big T, we was in here chilling. We ended up turning it on his laptop. We watched the race. It was one of the most exhilarating things I
awesome.
felt
Guy's
in a
an
while.
animal.
Like people, horses.
Yeah.
It was exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Exactly what it was. And what's so fun about that race, especially when you got some on it, is it's the back and forth and the positioning. You see them positioning and stuff. And at the beginning of the race, the lady on the telecast, she said Cole Hocker has probably the best kick in the world. Meaning the last stretch, he probably has the best. He's probably the best there. And so he starts to position himself coming around the corner, and it's just fascinating. And then this tall, lanky dude from, where was he from? Like Nova Scotia or some shit.
Which
The
one?
dude that almost got him.
Well, the guy who was closing on him was another American.
No, it was the dude that was in front of him that he caught.
That was so he was the favorite from either Norway
There you
or
go.
somewhere.
Somewhere up there, right? Where them big old white boys at. And he was getting him, dog. And I was nervous. And Big T starts yelling, and it got me hyped. Cole Hocker, I don't know where it came from, but he put on a hell of a show.
It was fucking awesome.
It was amazing. And I ended up winning like $3,000.
Damn.
Just on a whim. So shout out to Big T homeboy. I would shout you out, but I'm not sure if he's coming.
He just texted me more stuff for today.
He did?
Yeah.
I'm in.
Send it to you.
The fucking wizard.
Roll
That's
it over.
my guy.
Yeah.
And then he DMs me afterwards. He goes, he's like, you won me some fantasy championships back in the day, so I'm glad I could help. I
Yeah,
was
they
like,
followed each other on Twitter.
Absolutely, that's my guy now. Forever, we locked in. Yeah, man, we locked in. Dog.
It made me. I want running international things to happen once every 4 months. Once every 4 months, I want one of those races.
I thought you were gonna say 4 years. I was
No,
like,
no,
well,
no.
brother, do I have an event for you?
But 4 years, I want to watch that like 3 times a year.
I can say I ran track. Like I was in track. I ran different events. I went to track and meets my whole life. I can say I've never watched a 1500 meter race.
Really?
Not once.
See the 100 meter and shit. It's
over so
8
fast.
seconds and
Yeah,
it's
it's
over.
over so
Like that's
fast.
great.
Yeah.
But like the
It's my marriage.
But 4 minutes. 4 minutes is perfect.
It's an amazing event when you have money on the line.
And it looked like they were jogging, and they were like, so they just completed the first lap in 54 seconds,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
like-
a quarter of a mile.
It's like 56.
And it looked like they were legit jogging.
So for point of reference, I used to and this is how I know this is crazy speed. Like that speed is insane. When I used to train for the offseason in the NFL, I used to run 400s, right? And I used to get them in like 101. Like so, I would do like four of them or 3 of them. It'd be like 101, and I'm pushing, right? And I'm
That's
moving.
fast as shit.
I'm moving.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
moving. This is like me peak height. They're doing
like 4.5 minute miles.
Yeah, they're doing
Yeah.
56s, 54s consecutively. Dog, them boys is bad.
Yeah,
Shout
my
out to them.
fastest, I used to run 3 miles in 18, like sub 18 minutes. It was like the perfect score for Marines. Thinking about somebody running a mile 2 full minutes faster,
No, it's insane.
or like 2.5 minutes faster when I felt like I was moving,
Yeah.
and they'd be lapping me by the second lap. It's crazy.
I was training my daughter for basketball not too long. It was probably like a month ago, and one of the big things is what we used to call it road work. Like you got to get your miles in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started teaching her how to run long distance, and so I got her out there for a mile first. Shout out to my daughter, man. She really started. She dropped her time a minute from one day to the next.
Wow.
It's like all mental, right?
Wow.
But so afterwards, you know, I ran. So I run with her. I run side by side and kind of like coach her on how to breathe and stuff like that. And afterwards, I didn't feel like I got a good enough run, so I was like, let me just push me a 400 real quick and see what I get. And it's been a while since I ran. I ran a 111. And like just hurt.
But that's still fast as shit.
It's moving a little bit, but like from
You're
what
like,
I used
oh
to,
man,
I
this
used to,
slow ass 5 minute mile
bro,
pace.
I used to get it in under. I could go under a minute or like 101, 59. That was my range. It's like 111 was like, damn, man, I lost a step.
See, I used to run those 6 minute miles, and now if I went out and did like 10, I'd be pumped.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hell yeah, I did great.
Yeah, Chaps came in. He said, "Man, getting those sucks." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Man, you know, my shoulder hurts and stuff." I was like, "Yeah, you know, it happens." He's like, "Yeah, I got hit by a car." So I don't got nothing to do with old age, dog.
But my recovery process,
Yeah. Them
used to be throw in some ibuprofen, 800 milligrams, and I'm good.
Yeah, them cells take their time.
Yeah, now I got to do that regimen for like a week and a half.
Yeah, they take their time, man.
Mm-hmm.
Big T, what you got on your list today, man?
Couple things. Did you see this Mormon Swinger story?
I did not, man.
So Hulu is coming out with a show about these Mormon swingers that
I got it scheduled already for DVR.
Oh, really?
I'm fucking ready.
So there's this group of Mormon moms. Do you know about them generally?
Do I know about Mormon moms?
Yeah.
I do not know.
They're
about
up your alley.
Really?
A lot. Yeah. So a lot of the Mormons are like really hot.
Mm-hmm.
So they like have.
Now, is this a prerequisite or is this a happenstance?
It's
Both, I think.
yeah.
Utah is basically the Nordic region of the United States.
Yeah.
It's like part of
essentially.
the marketing for the Mormons. Is like if you're Mormon,
wow.
you're gonna be
Yeah.
So
hot.
they
It's
put
all
all
blonde
the hot,
hair, blue
yeah.
eyes.
I went to Utah once, and I was so surprised because I had no expectations. My homeboy went to Weber State, and so I went to Utah to go visit him, and it was probably my favorite city I've ever visited before. Like
Salt
one of
Lake?
them. Yeah.
That
It's-
made me sad.
It's beautiful, though. I'm talking about.
Yeah, it is. The scenery
It was
is
like
beautiful.
it was like right before, like right in when winter started. So like this, you could see the snow on the
Yeah.
nightlife was fun. It was a beautiful.
it?
Yeah, the gorgeous women. It was
They
amazing.
don't even have like above 4.5 or 5 alcohol by volume beer. Do they have like liquor?
Yeah, I got lit.
Really?
To my record, yeah, I got super lit. Yeah,
Oh, maybe it's different.
I don't.
Did you soak while you were there?
Did I soak?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
You don't know about soaking?
Oh Lord.
So it's
I don't
like
know about soak.
Mormons will, because they're not allowed to have sex or drink coffee, you're out on a lot of Mormon stuff.
Yeah,
So-
I like the city. I don't like the culture.
So soaking is when like it happens at BYU a lot where 2 Mormons will get naked and he'll
I
put
can confidently say I've never done this, but continue.
he'll put it in but won't move. So it's like a get around for sex. So they just have it inside. There's penetration, but they don't like hump each other. And they'll bring in some people from time to time to move the bed
Like
on
kick
like a
the bot under the bed.
so there is a little bit of movement, but they're not doing it.
And they'll like pay your friend to come be like, hey, will you kick underneath my bed?
Yeah.
A shaker.
Yeah.
So he inserts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just making sure I'm getting this right. He inserts.
Yeah.
And
Then freeze.
he refuses to move
Uh-huh.
because of the Lord. I'm assuming.
Yep.
Okay. The Lord's watching, can't move inside here. But I just so happened to fall in here.
Right.
Not my fault. Lord.
Whoopsie daisy.
Okay. And since I'm in here, it's not bothering me. It's not bothering you. And the bed so happens to move.
Yeah.
Right.
Makes it feel a little better.
They're using sex sin laws like taxes.
I'm saying, bro,
Like they're trying to find
the
loopholes.
mental Olympic gymnastics going on in their heads.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and do it, bro.
They're
It's
like
not-
the Simone Biles of sex.
That's insanity, dog. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't even remember where I was. That threw me way the fuck off.
Getting
You
lit
telling
in-
me about the Mormon show?
Yeah, so they put a lot of their, I don't know if this is a directive from someone or if they all just happen to, but there's a lot of hot Mormon women that are on TikTok and like on social media really active, like, hey, look, Mormons are really hot, young, cool people. And so there's a group of them that I guess I hung out a bunch and they did what they called soft swinging.
Soft swinging.
Yeah. So
Okay.
they, I guess,
That's kind of what soaking is, right?
Right. Yeah.
so I guess they did everything with each
Everybody
other
just does it together. Yeah.
up to, but not.
It's sex during the earthquake.
It's like the Hail Bop comment of soaking, where everybody just dresses the same.
The large group would stop just short of, quote, going all the way with each other. The soft swingers. But then there was one woman who, at one of these soft swinging parties, I guess, have sex with somebody else's husband.
Shunned.
So that she gets divorced from her husband, gets a new boyfriend, and then had an incident with that boyfriend where she was like throwing chairs at him and shit.
She got arrested for domestic violence.
And like hit her kid, I think. She was like aiming for him and hit her kid.
Gotcha.
And so now they're making a whole... Is she the focal point of the documentary?
I think it's more of an ensemble cast. I don't think it's like her and her people. I think they're all kind of in it, because then there's another one that's part of the show whose husband was cheating on her and had like a Tinder profile, but like claimed to have, he didn't do anything. He was just talking to women on Tinder, and she made this whole thing on TikTok about it, and it was her and him in this video being like, you know, Mike or whatever his name is had a Tinder account. He had trauma in the past, and so he thought he would heal his trauma by getting a Tinder. And she has like a viral video, so like that's a weird thing, and they were also a part of it. And then there's also a viral video that she has of her child is in the hospital for RSV, and there's a TikTok of her doing like a TikTok dance next to her like infant in the hospital.
I saw that.
That's the same. She's in that too.
Oh my goodness.
And she's like, his breathing is low, and it's like her being like, and his breathing is low, and
I love those scandalous Mormons. I got so locked into
Hey,
Real Housewives Salt Lake
Can
City.
you pull that up, bro?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Real Housewives Salt Lake City.
Yeah, that
Real
shit's-
Housewives
so
Salt Lake City.
good.
that shit is insane.
They're like they pretend to be Mormon.
Yeah,
like,
it's great.
Most of them,
Yeah.
they like don't follow the
I need to
rules,
see
but then
that
they're
TikTok.
like, oh,
Wait.
I'm Mormon.
Can you find that woman dancing RSV TikTok? Have you seen it?
No, I don't know what
it's
this is.
fucking hilarious.
It's
dog.
really funny. But so she's in it as well. And also like some of the people in this show, they're all TikTokers. Like they all have a TikTok presence. Some of them aren't even Mormon. They just like live in Utah.
Isn't it that woman who's like pretty thick, right?
When you say thick, what do
I
you
don't know.
mean?
Like her ass fills up her yoga pants.
I was like,
Like
thick,
in a
'cause
big
thick
way?
is a good.
No, I'm using
Okay,
it
yeah,
as
okay.
a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we like them thick, chap.
Mhm.
I need to see this TikTok. Or at least I want Big T to see this TikTok.
Hold on, I'm trying to find it. She
It's-
deleted it, obviously.
Oh, but it's on the internet.
Yeah,
But
I'm trying to
it
find
had
It
like
went viral.
it had millions and
yeah,
millions. of
I didn't
views.
even know it, and none of the backstory. I was just like, oh, this is some Gen X.
Oh wait, I have it
You got it? Send it to the group chat. Or is there a way to play it on TVs here? Or
here.
I don't know how to work these TVs. I've never been able to
This
get them
is
on anything
insane.
other than them and you usually.
I'm usually right there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
How do I look from right? Did I look good when I'm on
same.
Yeah.
there? Did I look good?
Handsome.
I look
Yeah.
handsome. Thank you.
Mhm.
What about you?
I'm sending you the links.
You don't have to.
There's no way that's real.
Oh, it's
It
real.
is. It's 100% real. So, and then she made an apology video, being like, "I'm sorry, it was
Bruh.
insensitive for me."
Is she one of the ones that's in this show?
Yeah, she's in
Oh
it.
my God.
And she's the one that her husband had the Tinder
I
account.
gotta watch this now, dog.
Scandalous.
I gotta watch this.
Yeah,
man.
and she does. She'll come on her. I've seen a couple of her videos after I watched that one like 15 times. Her other videos would come up. She's always like twerking and shit. She's wild.
Yeah. She like learns dances from movies
Mm-hmm.
and like twerks, and then it's like recording her husband, and her husband's like, "Oh my God, you're so funny."
What is the basic tenets of Mormonism? Like, what do they believe?
So they
I'm sure
believe
we've talked about it, I just don't remember.
they believe that Joseph Smith,
Joseph A. Smith.
yeah, was a prophet of God, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and that he found in upstate New York
Mm-hmm.
Tablet.
the tablet
Yeah.
that had these rules, which later turned into, Chaps, you probably know more, that turned into what the Book of Mormon is.
Is this the one where they think the Garden of Eden was in Missouri?
Yeah,
I don't know how exactly true that is, but yes, something along
Yes.
those lines.
and so
That's fucking funny, though.
I always get what I learned about Mormonism and Jehovah's Witnesses as like I always get them mixed up in my brain.
For me, it's Mormon and Scientology. I always fuck those two up.
Yeah.
So the difference between Mormonism and, wait, what was the first one you said, Chaps?
Oh, you said,
Jehovah Witnesses.
Jehovah Witnesses. Jehovah Witnesses are like way more intense.
Actually, I think the plural would be Jehovah's Witnesses,
Yeah.
right?
And then Jehovah's Witnesses also don't like celebrate. They
Well,
don't
I
celebrate
think
holidays.
that's the singular
Possessive.
too.
Yeah,
a Jehovah's
possessive.
Witness and Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and then Mormons don't believe in drinking any like coffee or
Did you see that Trump?
sex before marriage or
You see that Trump video where he was talking to Laura Ingraham, or I think it's Laura Ingraham, and she goes, did you see Kamala Harris has in her bio she, her? She goes, what are your pronouns? He's like, I don't want pronouns. Shit's so funny. I don't want any pronouns. Shit's fucking hilarious, man. But yeah, so I will be locked in on that show.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure. And it's also like kind of looks, no offense to the Hulu production department, a little low budge. I mean, like when
do we start abbreviating budget?
I love that.
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
I didn't get that memo.
I abbreviate like everything, but like they seem to be doing a lot of their own marketing for this show. Like the girls, like there's not a lot of like Hulu marketing. It's like the girls are talking about it like just together.
Yeah, I got an 8 off about Hulu though.
Oh, what do you got?
So I pay like like 70 or something like that, right? For the Hulu Express or Plus or whatever they call it.
But that's with like regular TV channels.
Yeah,
too.
like
Yeah, I
live
get all
sports
that
and
shit,
all
right?
that. Yeah.
But I was watching some reality. I think it was Love Island or something. No. Naked and Afraid.
If you want to get
One of
into
your
Love
favorite
Island,
shows.
I'm ready.
Love Island. You
Same.
watched the season?
Dude,
Oh, we
come
about to get.
on.
Oh, you did?
Don't even worry about. We about to get right back
Come
into this.
on.
Oh, it's about to go down. But so I'm watching Naked and Afraid, which every honorable man does, and I'm getting ads, and I'm just like, why am I paying all this money if I keep getting ads? And the ads were like excessive. It was like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, right, of like just ads, and I'm like, I might as well just watch it on fucking TNT or wherever it comes on. And so I end up calling them and be like, yo, I keep getting ads, but I'm paying the full amount. Why am I getting ads? And, you know, I should have read the fine print. You only don't get ads if it's a Hulu production.
Right.
They don't have the rights to Naked and Afraid. They just carry it, right? And so anything, which is not a lot on their platform, anything that is not made by them, you get ads on. And I'm like, that fine
And it's
print
not
should be-
ad free.
That's what that fine print should be a little bigger, dog. I'm just saying. I feel like
It's been well documented, but where we've gotten to with TV is just out of control.
I don't disagree with you.
So I have YouTube TV. That's $75 a month. I
Okay,
think.
stop there. What do you? Because I got YouTube Premium. What is
Well,
the?
so YouTube TV is like your Hulu thing. It's just live TV.
Okay,
And
That's all the-
premium's just for regular YouTube.
YouTube Premium is like you just don't get ads on YouTube.
and that's a real thing. I don't get ads.
Yeah, that one's legit.
Yeah, I love YouTube.
So I have YouTube TV. That's like $75 a month. Then I have ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, and Hulu in a bundle. That's like 16, 17. It used to be like 10.
I think it's more than that. I think it's like
Yeah,
21.
Think
Yeah,
you're doing
probably.
20
Who
something,
even
yeah.
knows? Then I have Netflix. That's now 14, 15 or something. Do I have anything else?
Netflix has me for
Peacock?
life.
Yep, I got Peacock,
I got Peacock too.
for soccer.
Paramount.
I have Paramount for soccer.
got
Dude, I have
I have everything, and it's $200 a month.
Yeah, so I had like I put everything on my Chase card, everything, because I want the miles, and I'm not spending any of the miles until my youngest kid graduates from high school, and then we're going on a European vacation that will be paid for by all those points.
lit, yeah.
Yeah, because I got like 350,000 now.
I love that.
So I'm gonna do that. But I told my wife the other day because it shows you where your breakdown is, and it was like $270, $280 a month for the subscription services. And I told her, I'm like, look, how much these things cost at this point's none of my business.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay for
I'm gonna be
Just
there.
remember when
Yeah.
you're in Rome. Just be like,
it. Right.
Hulu.
Yeah, it's none of my damn business.
Yeah, it is out of control. And every now and then you got to sweep through. This is just advice as a human, as an adult. Every now and then you got to sweep through your subscriptions and just, make sure you're paying what you want to pay, because sometimes you forget what you subscribe to. This may be me problem.
I canceled a debit card one time because I saw a charge on there for Xbox Live. I was like, I haven't had an Xbox
That's what I'm
in 6
saying.
or 7 years.
But it's
I was like,
just-
somebody's got my debit card. Y'all need to cancel it. Turns out I'd been paying for it for 2 years.
Yep. See?
Yep.
And so every now and then you got to check your subscriptions, man.
I'll go through because it's through PayPal and then my card. So I'll go in and remove PayPal, like the payments, like it can't go to my card, it can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So then I'll get like a clean out, like things. It'll get the email like, hey, your payment didn't process. And if it's something that I didn't like I paid for like 3 things, like Buffer is a website that you can put in a video and it'll publish to all platforms.
Oh.
But it kind of sucked and always messed up. I paid like $17 a month for that for probably 3 years.
Damn.
And didn't use it. It was like a Planet Fitness membership.
They LA Fitness, man. Them people, I catch hands with the owner of that. Like, I fucking hate them people. They still will send me emails talking about your subscription's gonna get canceled, bro. Cancel that shit.
Yeah,
Leave me
I
the
hope
fuck
it
alone,
will.
man.
See, Congress should pass a law that if you don't go to a gym for 3 months, they cancel your membership.
I think, and I think in the future, we're gonna have to start, like, there are predatory subscriptions. There's predatory, like, this is what people mean when you say like Congress is old and they're kind of out of touch. This kind of stuff, like not being internet savvy or just savvy with the way that the world of tech is going. Like, we need to have laws protecting people from predatory shit like that. So
I think I said this pretty recently. It needs to be. This should have 100% approval in Congress. Everything in this country needs to be able to be canceled online.
Yeah.
I think I told this story before, but I had to. I believe it was the Houston Chronicle broke the story of Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC. So the day that broke, I subscribed to the Houston Chronicle for like $1 to be able to get that story. And they gave you 8 months for $1 or some shit. So I called you had to call to cancel, and I called the next day. I was like, hey, I don't need this anymore. Like, you can cancel it. They're like, well, are you sure? Like, we offer all the. I was like, I live in New York. I do not need the Houston Chronicle. Please cancel it. They're
I've
like,
been to Houston twice.
They're like, well, let me transfer you to this guy. He'll tell you. I was like, I don't. Stop. And this went on for an hour and a half.
That's crazy.
And I finally got it, and I was like, that is unbelievable.
That's wild.
And imagine an old trying to do that.
Oh, they'd get them for 3 more years.
God, I'm an old, bro. Oh, no bullshit though. My grandma, man, she's 86, something like that, and she's showing signs. You could tell, right? But it's the sad part is, you're right. Like, she'll call my mom and she'll be like, "There's this really good insurance or something that I got a call from," and she's like, "Mom, don't ever agree to anything over the phone." And so, like,
especially landlines.
Yeah, they be trying to get them. Oh, I meant to bring this up, or maybe I did. Tell me if I brought it up. I saw this documentary, and it was based off a UN report where, because I used to be an asshole to scammers. Like, I'll call them, I'll be like, "Fuck you, bro. Like, get a life, you piece of shit," right?
Yeah.
I thought I was doing like a moral service. So turns out there was a UN report that says a big majority of those scammers are getting kidnapped by overseas gangs, and so they'll like kidnap people. And they'll force them to scam people, and they have to meet a quota, and they get beat and stuff like that. Yeah. So there was this dude. I think he was from the Philippines or something like that. I hope I didn't butcher it, but he escaped, and I think he wrote this big piece on what's going on. And he's like, I used to feel horrible, but I had to scam people. Like, I would get beat if I didn't get a certain amount of money, and then they recruit people, and then they kidnap more people. And this is like a real thing that's happening, and it's based on a UN report. And so it made you think, like, yo, this is, while there are still piece of shit scammers out there, don't get me wrong. Yeah. There are people that are being forced into these markets. Yeah. And it's a really scary, like
financial trafficking, essentially.
Yeah, exactly what it is. Yeah.
And I see there's videos on TikTok again where you'll have some dude here in the United States that's good at like counter hacking or whatever, right? And they'll have one of those people that calls, and the dude like basically gets a nut off on it, like that it's gonna be there. Mm-hmm. And you could hear after a while, like, he'll take money from them. Mm-hmm. Like, he gets into their computer and will take money from them, and you can hear them screaming over and over again, like, "Why did you do that?" Right. Maybe it's because they're about to get that ass beat.
So 100%. And so there's like, you see a couple of videos like you're saying where people are like, "Why did you don't click that? Don't click that."
Yeah, exactly.
And because it could be that they're actually getting beat. But then there's the other guys there, because there's other side of the aisle where they are just pieces of shit. There's this one dude I follow on YouTube who that's all he does is fuck with scammers, and they're usually like the dudes from India. And so he like
what's your name, Rick?
He like breaks he breaks into like their security systems.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah,
and he just fucks with them, and he like sends like I remember one dude he sent like, those explosion bombs that smell horrible, like fart. Yeah. So he sent that to the office of one of those things, and all of them disappeared. It's funny as hell. But it's very interesting. So maybe
he does
think
like
twice.
The old lady like voice. Is that the
he's
one?
on Twitch. I see that. Yeah. He's on
yeah.
Twitch. Funny as hell. But yeah, maybe think twice about being an asshole to scammers because they might be in trouble, man. It's a real thing. Like I said, it's based off a UN report, and they're saying like I think upwards of like 300,000 people are victims of it.
Wow.
Yeah. They said it's really big. My numbers could be wrong, but from the last time I checked, it's scary, man. Yeah, but I do want to hop into Love Island.
Yeah, I am ready. I've been so excited to talk about
I
this.
didn't know,
That's good
bro.
because I need to go pee.
Do your thing. All right, we'll hold you down while you out. If you have not seen or are not interested in Love Island at all, fast forward to the next juncture of the podcast.
Did you finish it?
I've finished, dog.
Okay, so I have like 3 or 4
Oh,
episodes
Chaps, you're
left.
killing me, bro. All
But
right,
we can get into most of
We
it.
won't spoil it.
Do you know spoilers or?
No, and
Okay.
I have muted it on Twitter.
Oh, that's
Okay.
impressive.
Yeah, I cannot. I don't
that's
want it
good.
spoiled. I think
Yeah.
it's the most unhinged TV show I have ever seen.
It's insane.
It
dog.
is so good.
It's so good.
It's like if Portnoy was in charge of being the producer of Survivor, or not Survivor, but The Bachelor.
yeah, but
yes.
It's so toxic because like usually at Love Island, like you really root for like a couple because there's a real good bond there.
Yeah.
You don't have that this year.
No.
No.
It's a free for all.
Yeah.
And it's a cesspool of toxicity, and I'm all in.
Very
Now-
disappointed in Aaron.
Oh yeah, he's the
Wow.
worst.
Whoa! How's Aaron the worst?
Well, I mean, he's telling her that he's
no.
kind of like cut off, and he's trying to act like he wants to basically.
Wait, which one's Aaron?
The
Aaron's the one with-
Australian or?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. He's horrible. Okay.
Yeah, that
I was
dude-
thinking about Rob.
Oh yeah, Rob
Rob
is the
is-
worst. But
It's
like,
not the Rob. I love Rob.
no, I
Do you?
love Rob,
I
but
love
he is
Rob,
the
bro.
worst.
Rob does not give a fuck about
Yes,
anybody else's
exactly.
feelings. He's there to get
Aaron
a nut
likes,
This is his-
Aaron likes Rob more than he does his.
Oh
his
my God,
lady.
Aaron and Rob are literally in love with each other.
Shit funny. But this what kills me about this whole situation is I seen online, right? Because you do a little social media stalking after you get to see.
Oh, for sure.
Leah.
Yeah,
Leah,
Leah.
yeah.
I for the life of me can't understand why she has fans.
That's crazy. I'm one of them.
Okay,
What?
we got to talk about
How?
this.
She has
Yo,
no fans. I'm dead.
Dog, we Mac, like she is so manipulative.
No.
How do you see it that way?
She's like a sociopath.
It's
Like-
insane.
In regards to what?
Okay.
everything.
You don't think that she okay, did or did she not get caught in multiple lies?
Big lies.
No, I don't think.
What?
Wait, which one?
when
sending
Andrea-
home?
yeah.
No, absolutely not.
What? How?
Oh my God, this is an
They
abomination.
rolled the tape of her.
No,
like
we never rolled the tape. They never rolled the tape.
And there's one thing. Who was
Shorty
Liv?
was-
Right?
Yeah, Liv was banging. She's like, you were the main
Yeah,
one.
Liv was the realest on the whole show.
Yes.
She did not care at all what anybody thought.
She was a little in everybody's business, but she told it everything how she felt.
yeah. I like Liv too.
Yeah, but she called Leah out.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, you are.
No, I stand with Leah on that because I don't think there's no point in her sending Andrea home because she wasn't like trying to get back with Rob.
Yes,
Yes,
she was.
Oh
To the-
my God.
To this day, she probably won't get back with this dude.
If he was like, and that little conversation that she had, I'm like, would you leave your man right now to go back with Rob? And she's like, no, I would go. No, she wouldn't. She looks
100%.
at him like puppy dog eyes still.
And she
Oh,
alludes.
spare me,
She
as
alludes,
she would say.
She alludes to it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know.
And she's her eyes.
Yeah,
were-
he's hot. I would do the
oh,
same.
remember when she was doing the dance thing, the dance challenge? She goes, I put
yeah,
out the
he
fire
still has
because he
feelings
still
for
has
me.
the hots for me. Come
Yeah,
on, dog.
yeah.
She
Come
did
on.
that to all of them.
No,
That's
she
the
didn't.
point of the thing.
No, she danced on everybody, but she specifically said he still has the hots.
Yeah, but she said something to all of them.
She sparked joy every time that dude walked in.
Yeah, D9.
And
I would
think
too.
Rob-
I would too,
I-
and he's the worst.
I think Rob looks like a dick, but in reality, he
said how he felt.
he was straightforward with
He
everybody.
said what he felt.
Even with Andrea, he was like, "Look, I'm gonna talk to other people."
That's the thing that
Or with Leah when he went
about
to
this
Andrea.
show that makes it so funny to me because they look so unhinged, but I know why. Because like, bro, I've known you for 2 days, and I'm supposed to be like committed to you.
Oh, that's what's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
But this is why I kind of understand why. you're cut off from all of your social activities. There's no movies. There's no nothing. There's no phones.
Yeah.
It's just you and these people, and you get to know them on a very personal level
Quickly.
very quickly.
Yeah.
And so everything is sped run. So like
Big
what
time.
what is like a week probably in reality is like six months to a year. Like
I
because
totally agree.
Yes.
and so that's why they get so emotional when somebody leaves. I get that. I understand that. But you have to take yourself out of that situation and be like, I can't be mad at this man I met 2 days ago that he's not committed to me.
Yeah, they's not wanting to get married and shit.
He's absolutely entitled to go
No,
talk
I don't
to-
think she was mad about that. I think she was just like mad about the way he went about it.
How did he said exactly what we was going to
He
do.
was like, okay, the thing he said to her about like, something about like their sexual tension or whatever. He was like, I'm not feeling it, which is just like horrible to say. To
He didn't say
someone,
that to
I think.
Leah.
Yeah, he did.
No.
What
Yes,
if you're
he
not?
did. What are you talking about?
Wait,
I don't think it's bad
He
to say
said-
I'm not feeling the sexual tension. That I'm not feeling it. I don't think that's bad at all.
But like the night before to be like making out in the bed and then
Oh, that's true.
say
Sorry,
that.
you did say that. But yeah, what's wrong with that? Because are we here? Oh, this what.
Like
this is
I
what
think
bothers
just saying
shit
that
out of
to
me.
a woman is
I just
in general.
I just remember what bothered the shit out of me. All those women conspired to get Andrea out of there, and their reasoning for keeping what's the Janae was because she said that Andrea was closed off to meeting anybody because she was just so involved with Rob, and Janae wants to find out. Bullshit.
And
We're
was-
here to find love. They were the closest couple in there, and that's the reason
they're
for
like,
kicking her off.
Janae deserved a
job.
chance. She was already on her third person.
Yeah, she was out
Okay.
of there.
You know
man,
who
is that
I
not
hate.
bullshit?
You know who I feel the worst
don't
for
even
on the
don't
show?
Even, don't even say it.
OBJ's brother.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
Dude, I mean,
he's-
having
yeah.
him as your brother,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you have zero game
no,
whatsoever.
He's definitely grown on me. I think Serena actually like I like him better
She played
because
him.
of Serena.
She played him.
That's
She
insane of you
did.
to
She
say.
made that dude look silly.
She played the shit out of him. What bothers me
And then
about
he
that?
made her look silly, and then he looked like the asshole.
No, I didn't see it like that. I looked at it like again, we're in here a week and a half, bro. I known you a week and a half in my life. I'm here to explore other connections. I deservedly am entitled to go explore other. I'm still a single man. All right?
And- yeah.
Now did he should have said that. Like, listen, I'm gonna still talk to other people. Yeah, he should have said that. But still, she was disinterested in this man the entire time until she realized I might be on the chopping block for leaving. So let me buddy up with him because I move
No.
slow. Yeah, that's exactly what she said. Kim, I move slow. No, you don't.
For everybody that was hot, she
you
didn't.
you just don't feel him like that. You're just not into him until it was time
Yeah.
for you to maybe go, and then you got
But
close.
with this dude, I also felt like because of his brother, I would imagine, like your brother's one of the most athletic people on planet Earth. You know, he's probably been with 500 women. Like he's that kind
Who
of
knows,
dude.
you know?
Like he's been with a lot of
Who
women.
can we compare it to?
And
Who
so
knows,
then
man? Who knows? I don't
he's-
know that life.
He's your brother. Coffee and sex is what Arian knows.
That's all I know. Man.
So he's your brother, and he's trying to overcompensate so much. Did you pick up on every single time he was in one of those make-out challenges? Instead of like going for it that way, he picks everybody up and kind of like bounces them up and down. It's because he's 5'8" and concerned that people are going to think he's too small. So he's like, actually,
be.
I'm a big, strong man.
It could be.
No, he like at the beginning was like a walking ick to me.
I agree.
Like everything he
that?
did, I was just like, oh my god, this is so cringe.
You didn't
like,
find him that way?
everything he
I
said.
don't think I looked at him like that, to be honest.
I did. I got the ick from him
Yes, but he
and
has.
Kendall.
Oh my god, Kendall.
Okay,
yeah.
I can see the Kendall thing. He's just a goofy.
He's goofy.
Nobody's
yeah.
that happy.
He's
He's
kind of
goofy.
goofy. To me. And he was kind of
He's got some dark shit in his past, I bet.
Well, I just feel like he
Oh
I don't think he's ever been with a pretty woman
Just
before
wait.
because like he like don't know how to act.
no,
I think he looks like-
he gets all goofy.
You don't think he looks like off-brand Drake a little bit?
Sure, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see
I
that.
bet he's been with, because he's an attractive dude.
But I just think he's a little bit of a goofball, man.
yeah,
he's definitely a
goofy.
goofball.
He was kind of like the funny. I feel like comedy relief a lot of the time.
But he was a shit stirrer too.
Oh
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I think they kind of gassed that too. I think because if you in Casa More with a whole bunch of your single male friends now,
Oh yeah.
You gonna be like, hey, they're good shit, though. You better,
Yeah,
course.
but not
For
in,
sure.
but not
I
in the way
think-
these dudes do it. Like
But
if me
No.
and you were talking,
Yes,
we wouldn't be like,
exactly.
"Hey, dude, she fucking likes you, man. She wants to give you a kiss. You get you a kiss last night."
Yes.
If
no,
I ever
exactly.
do that
Right,
with
he's
my
probably-
friends,
he's probably a little-
kill me.
yeah, he's probably a
I
little
think
much.
that was
He
like
a
the
little- he was a
biggest.
little much for sure.
That was the biggest problem with like the Casa Amor thing was like the girls were obviously upset that like the guys got with the other girls, but like that's fine because that's what they went to Casa Amor
Watch
for.
the show. Like you should know that that's what happened.
Exactly. I think they were just like upset about how they were so like
I think
into it. Like they went so far.
I think-
because the girls didn't do that, so they're like, "How could you?"
because I think if the Casa Amor guys were more their type,
Oh my God! Why did they literally get Timu versions of men
That's
to
what
be
I'm
the
s-
Casa Amor
that's what I'm
people?
saying.
It
So-
wasn't fair.
Yeah.
So I think the girls were on their best behavior because they weren't interested in the other.
No,
dudes.
100%.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
also
Niles,
oh my God, no! I was
the whole squad.
the
was
whole
like-
squad.
the
Yeah.
when they were like. Also, what annoyed me was when the girls were like, "I was sleeping outside, like while you were in the bed cuddling." It's like. No one, you're the one who chose to sleep
what I'm
outside.
saying.
You had a bed to sleep in. Like, what? You can't
But
complain about
That's the thing.
something you
they
did
act
on your
like
own.
they've been married for 10 years. I'm like,
Yeah.
doggy, I met you 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to kiss another girl if I want to, which is another thing about this show that I just found grotesque was that swapping the food mouth challenge.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
oh
fast,
my
I
God.
fast forwarded
bro, I
that
fast
shit.
No, I
forwarded through
couldn't
that shit. I was
watch
like,
it.
bro,
I
I'm
was
not-
like, I don't want to
why
see
would
anybody
I
getting baby
that was
birded.
like
disgusting.
you would have to pay me, you'd have to pay me a crazy amount of money to even consider that shit.
I wouldn't do that with somebody I've been married to 15 years.
Yeah.
I'd probably do it with somebody married to 15.
Yeah, I probably would too if
I'm
she
saying,
wanted to. Yeah.
It'd probably be fun too.
You get
But, like,
horny, Brad, you'll do anything.
that's what I'm saying. Stranger, bro.
Yeah.
But like a stranger.
No, that's disgusting.
We spitting in each other's mouths with food and like, dog, like at what point are you like, yo, I have way more integrity than to play this stupid challenge game on this show. There's no way I'm doing this. Like, are you serious? No.
Yeah.
And they have to all be tested for oral herpes before this show pops off.
Oh, they got to be
And
tested.
no-
I think they got to go whole kit and
No,
caboodle.
no offense. I think like something like 70% of America has it or something like that. But hey, that is a breeding ground for bacteria. If you just swap all these kissing challenges and shit, like that's what I'd be thinking about.
You know what I really love is how ruthless they are in some of the eliminations when they make you go stand behind
That's
the
tough.
person that you
Oh,
want to keep.
yeah,
that's
yeah,
tough.
And then
yeah.
you have one person like, well, nobody likes me.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
Like that would fuck my self-esteem for so long.
Oh yeah,
But that
for
was
sure.
this year particularly was probably the most like savage as far as like how they structured a lot of the challenges, how they structured a lot of the eliminations and stuff. It was like very like, yo, you gotta out somebody somehow, some way.
Yeah.
It was toxic. I think it was like the highest rated Love Island of all time.
This is
Yeah.
my first season watching.
Oh
it.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
you're good. Well, you said the bar high because
Yeah. I'm going UK next.
okay. So
Yeah,
start
UK
with
is good.
start with
Season 5.
we
I
need
don't
to
know-
do a Love Island podcast. And that's it.
I know. I love this.
Start
so
with
much.
yeah. So make sure you mark this, and we'll put a disclaimer. I'll put a disclaimer. If you have not seen or are not interested in Love Island at all, fast forward to the next juncture of the podcast. Put a timestamp on that for me, Mac.
Yeah, I'll edit that
All right,
part
for
in.
sure. But so there was a one with Davide. His name's Davide and Ekansu.
Yep.
That is the best one.
Season 5
Okay.
of
It's unreal.
UK.
Season 5.
dope.
All right.
Tommy Fury's in that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
And there's
Yeah.
a girl on there who is, I for what I've seen is probably one of the most emotionally intelligent people I've ever seen on a reality TV show, and that was refreshing. And,
Yeah.
and she was like the youngest one.
Which
she was,
one?
She was like 20. I forget her name.
Yeah.
She was the daughter of like a famous soccer player.
Oh yes, I love her. Oh my god.
She like because you know how you kind of lose hope in reality when you watch reality TV shows. Or
Yeah.
something? You were like, that's rational. That's how to manage yourself. That's how to like go out there. It's amazing. It's dope.
Who did you think was the most real relatable on this season? I'm going Nicole.
Which one was Nicole?
Nicole's Kendall's.
She seemed a little.
I thought she was the most normal by far. I could if I see
She was the
Kaylor
most less-
cry another time.
Who?
How does she cry?
Kaylor?
She must have a deal with body armor to
Talk
get
about-
hydrated.
Talk about Mac. Tell me you don't like Kayla, man.
Caleb?
No.
Kayla.
No.
No,
Okay,
I
I
don't.
was like-
Absolutely not.
Bro, that was by far the most. and I feel for you if you cry. Like it's not crying it's good, but like she would cry about everything, dog.
If you cry about everything, you don't cry about anything.
It was
Right.
bad.
Like, what's the point at, yeah.
I couldn't
No.
deal. Like, imagine being in a relationship with her, and every time you go into like a Chili, she's weeping.
I was just like, girl, like I just wanted to smack her.
Yeah,
I
it was-
even like, yeah, I was just like, oh my god, girl, get
Fuck.
it together. Fuck, Aaron.
Fuck.
Oh man.
No, yeah, she
It was bad.
she's young too. I think she was like one of the youngest ones. I think she's only like 22 or
It was
3.
bad. She gonna look back at that and be like, oh.
No, exactly. That's why I'm like, oh, my
man.
god, because it's like when you're a girl, like everyone's been in that situation when you're like just so over head over heels for a guy that you're like nothing matters in the world.
So will Rob when he looks back at that tantrum when he was between
That
Andre.
was pretty bad too. That was-
No,
that was really
God.
bad.
the
dang,
elimination when they said Andrea home and Aaron immediately starts crying because he knows Rob is gonna go home.
That was
too.
wild, dog.
Yeah, that is.
That was like he cried more about
Yes.
Aaron's Rob's possible elimination than his or his girls. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. Kayla, I think, said to him at one point, she was like, "Are you like?" You're more upset about Rob.
It was
than
right
me."
after. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're the worst. Oh
man.
my god.
Well, that is Love Island talk with the squad.
That was the highlight of my week just then. I fucking love that. I
It's-
forgot all about my shoulder pain just then.
I'm so jealous that you still have more episodes.
Yeah, no. So this season has been so popular that this is the only season that they're doing a reunion for.
Oh, really?
So they're doing a reunion. So
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
I
you'll have to.
cannot
It's
wait
on
for
August.
that.
Like
That'd be amazing.
I think it's like August 19th. So you
Yeah,
have to finish
I thought it was
before
15th.
then. It might be.
Yeah,
I don't know the
it could
exact
be,
date,
yeah.
but it is in
It's
August.
coming, man. So finish your episodes, though.
I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
And
'Cause I'm watching
live-
Chaps,
do a
you're gonna
live
have
watch
to
of that
catch up
shit.
too.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to catch up too on like the social end because there's a lot happening after.
Yeah, a lot went down.
Yeah.
A lot went down.
Are they allowed to be on social media while they're there? No.
No.
No. Everything comes out when they do the selfies and shit from the official Love Island account.
That is like they have their little like Android phones with them.
Yeah, I think they just probably keep those for themselves and stuff. Maybe
They just have
Okay.
pictures
Yeah.
that they can take and then they get the photos
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
everything ends.
But
Yeah.
that actually is, aside from like the reality part, that actually is a really interesting social experiment to have you cut off from society, basically.
yeah.
And then you're thrusted into this space, this paradise where you don't have to worry about food or drink, and so it's all about the social aspect and the interaction. That's actually a very fascinating aspect.
Because
of it
aren't they
all.
there like 2 months?
Yeah.
They're there a long time and
Yeah.
they're
Like, what if
also
they have to
there.
quit their jobs and shit?
Yeah, everything.
I have
They-
no idea how that
They're
works.
they're cut off from their entire world. Like that's why when they see their families, they're like crying. Like,
Yeah,
"Dog, I
that
haven't
part,
seen
like,
you in-"
hit me, yeah.
Yeah. So I
Like
was
a
fast forward.
deployment.
Yeah.
Literally.
I always fast forward that show though. I can't stand the family talks.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about
Yeah.
that.
No,
Same
it was
thing
so-
with
it was
when
so
I watch The
awkward most of the
Bachelor.
time.
I don't care about the home visit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Fast forward that too.
Get your dumbass dad out of here. I don't care. Oh, do you want to date? Well, shut the fuck up, dude. This ain't
That-
1970.
That's another thing that killed me about the family episodes is like, because I don't watch them anymore because like the first couple episodes I did it, and it's always like, what are your intentions with my daughter? It's like, bro, I don't
The
know.
fuck?
I,
Like,
I
that's
want to
like-
see
What
how
is
she
this, the
acts out in public first,
1980s?
bro.
Like, yeah.
I don't know, my G.
I'm trying to win this show. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't give a
Literally.
shit about
I'm
her.
waiting for one day somebody don't split the money with somebody. I'm waiting
Oh,
for
yeah.
that. I can't
Yeah.
wait.
Oh
dog.
yeah, that'd be sister.
Oh man.
They also like I was watching one of the girls that was on season 1 USA Love Island has been making TikToks about the whole process of like going down to Fiji and stuff. Like they're quarantined by themselves too for 2 weeks before the show even starts.
COVID shit.
And they have like it's just like they have like a set amount of islanders at like different resorts in Fiji, and they have like a handler so because they can't run into each other for the 2 weeks that they're there before they go into the villa.
Damn.
So if they want to go to like the pool or like get breakfast, the handler like brings them down, and they have like set times so they don't run into each other.
Like North Korea. At the
Yeah,
Olympics.
no, it's insane. I'm like, I didn't know, like, obviously it's a huge production, but I was like, I didn't know about all the, like, steps that are taken before. And they also, even if you're a bombshell, like, you're there from the beginning because they picked the original cast once they all get to Fiji. So, like, if you're a bombshell that's on the last, like, episode or, like, towards the end of the season, you're just, like, in this hotel, like, hanging out by yourself until
2
they're like,
months.
okay, we want you to be a bombshell now. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, that's actually wild. It is like North Korea.
Yeah.
The Truman Show, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, so for real this time, that was Love Island talk.
Yeah.
So we're back.
We're back, dog.
All right,
Welcome
all
back.
right.
Welcome back, Big T.
Yeah. No,
Big T's all caught up on Twitter.
Yeah.
He's got all kind of work. They blog 3 days.
Big T, you would probably like it.
He would.
I've seen like maybe 10, 15 minutes of it, and it just doesn't. Now I watched the British one.
Oh, the
Yeah,
UK.
UK.
Yeah, you're
And-
more of an American guy.
Yeah.
Watch
Yeah.
some good old American drama.
Love Island.
But
SEC.
don't they have like? And now that I would watch.
Yeah.
100%.
If that would be sick. SEC schools all over, getting everybody to go down there, and it's just SEC.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
That'd be
But don't
amazing.
they do an episode like every day?
Yes, pretty much.
What are you talking about? UK?
Whatever.
Love
y'all are
Island.
watching. Yeah.
How does it come out every day?
It's 4 days a week.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
Monday,
crazy.
Tuesday,
Oh, I
Thursday.
didn't.
But it's like-
I'm
but it's like-
behind. I didn't realize it was that many
But what's
episodes.
dope
Yes.
about it is it's live because they're actually living in the moment, and like so it's
Right.
coming out like a couple of days or whatever.
But
after.
how long? 4 days a week for how long?
like 2 months.
I mean, there's like
Oh,
I think
I'm out.
I'm
I can't.
I'm on episode
just-
like 30.
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Just
It's
wait,
never
and,
ending.
and binge it later.
But that's
binge
too much.
It. You think, and then you
So
and then
that's
you get
what-
invested.
That's like 40 episodes.
It's like getting
Yeah,
into
it's like 30
Yellowstone
something.
now. Like you just
Yeah.
can't do it. You
Oh,
don't have
no
that
chance.
time.
You get super invested. You get super. I mean, I watch it with my lady friend, and then my daughter be watching it with us, and she be like, "Did you see so and so on social media?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's crazy, dog."
That's so cute.
It's just something that it's a good bonding thing with somebody that you love, man. It's fun. It's escapism.
Yeah,
I'm
life
all
takes you
for.
out.
Oh, yeah.
I love a good TV show. Just keep it
Yeah.
under 16 episodes.
I know it might not be an ad today, but wifey and I grabbed those can of drinks,
Yeah.
They
And-
are today.
and we sit.
Shout out to
You
them.
want to talk about can?
Yeah. We go on our couch and pull. She likes the Live in Lavender one. I'm a cardamom guy.
Ah.
I like that one. We'll just sit there and watch it. Have a great time. Perfect for Lollapalooza too.
Lollapalooza. That fucked up this whole city.
I was at the Chaperone concert.
Oh, you were?
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't
That
she
looked like a
just
nightmare.
amazing?
So there was an area in the back, and there's like a little tiny hill because my wife is short, so she wanted to see, and it was it was like everybody at the Tennessee Stadium went to watch her.
It was the
Like
largest Lollapalooza crowd ever.
110,000 people,
That's insane.
and it was
What are y'all talking? What is Lollapalooza?
You don't know what Lollapalooza
You ain't
is?
gotta shame me, dog. I asked you
No,
a
I'm
question.
not. I'm genuinely
Safe
shocked.
space. I'm genuinely asking.
It's
why
like-
you gotta do that to me?
It's a music festival in Chicago. It's like one of the 2 or 3 biggest in the country. I would
Okay.
say.
yeah,
Like a big
it's
music
like
fest.
Very big
It's
deal.
like
Okay.
Coachella.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I've
and
heard
it-
the name, but I never knew what
and
it
it
was.
shuts down. You can't go anywhere in Chicago for that weekend. It was
Got you.
just outrageous. But yeah, one of the concerts I saw a bunch of people on TikTok being like they let in too many people. Like they said there weren't supposed to be that many people there, and it was crazy.
I mean, her Chaperone's concert went all the way back to where Kesha was supposed to have a concert, and we were gonna go over to Kesha, and we walked. You just couldn't. It was like I needed Moses' staff to like part the sea to be able to get over there. Couldn't do it.
So would you? Hey, was that the first time you'd been there?
Yeah.
Had you been to other? I've never been to a music festival. It seems like a nightmare.
Yeah, I've been to several.
Yeah.
I'm not a festival guy. It was my wife and kid wanted to go, and with that crowd, I was like, well, you're not going without me, so I'll go
Right.
too. I had no real desire to see it, but I had a great time, man. I was like, HOTTOGO. I was having a great time.
What does that spell?
Hot to
Hot
go.
to go.
Oh.
It's one of her like more popular songs.
Who?
Chaperone.
Chaperone.
Chapel Roan.
She's like new Lady Gaga.
Yeah. Me and
Is she
Jonesy
like? Is she
saw
like?
her.
Like Lady Gaga's like really an artist. Is she
Yeah,
like,
oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
big
okay,
time.
okay,
Like
cool.
she dresses up, like
Gotcha,
she
okay,
has
okay,
like
yeah.
that whole vibe.
Like Lady Gaga can play instruments and act, and like she's fire.
But it's
She has-
primarily targeted like women and queer people.
Yeah.
Is like
I got
where
you.
it's
yeah.
yeah.
That's what.
This girl wears like she wears drag a lot of the time, or she'll
Mm-hmm.
dress up in like for Lala she dressed up in full like 80s wrestling.
Time out.
Yeah, she came as a
Here.
luchador.
Time out. Now this may be my ignorance. You said she wears drag.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that just be her dressing up?
No, drag is a style of clothing and makeup appearance.
Really? I thought drag was just men dressing as women.
No, that's
It's a style of like makeup and dress.
yeah. She wears like a huge wig and really, really, really overpronounced
I
makeup.
didn't know
It's
that.
awesome.
Yeah.
So when they say drag, is there a difference between dressing drag and being a drag queen?
I don't think so. I think traditionally it has been like, I think most people view it as like how you just did, but I
had no clue. This is
yeah,
news.
I didn't know. So I went to this Equality Texas. It's a
Big T's like, it's all the fucking same.
my a board member of that organization, and I went, and it was like what you would expect from an event that was primarily for LGBTQ people, and this drag performer came out, and she was singing I think it was a Whitney Houston song, and I was like, God damn, this person can sing.
Right.
And my wife was like, you are dumb. That is a pre-taped singing. Like, she's lip syncing. I would like everybody.
Milli Vanilli.
They're like, look at this white dude. He doesn't know shit. And I was like, I'm 41.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
It's tough.
I'm wearing crew socks now. I'm trying my best.
Would you go to a drag show, Big T?
No.
Just against it.
Yeah.
I think I'd pull up to one.
They're
Yeah.
very fun.
Yeah, they're fun.
I think
Like a drag brunch is very fun.
go to one. I'd pull up just to see. I've never been. I'd see.
Yeah, Chaperone's like the new big thing in music right now. She's awesome.
The new big thing.
I mean, she pulled bigger crowd than Metallica. Like right when Metallica was huge. Coldplay played, and she was bigger than that.
Like back then?
Yeah, like 90s Metallica when they were at like their height. Bigger crowd than anybody ever at Lala, and it's
Enter
a
the Sandman.
huge. Yeah.
I fuck with Metallica. I had some dudes in high school, some white boys that used to play that shit in the locker room, and I really, really liked it, dog.
There's one that they play with a symphony that's based at, it was in San Francisco, I believe. And it is, I'm not even a Metallica guy,
Right.
but like I think it was the Trans-Siberian Orchestra
Okay.
that played with them.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Like
Yeah.
that album top to bottom is incredible.
Yeah. I can officially say they don't make music like they do anymore. Like,
What are you said you like the white dudes introduced you to Metallica. What are your favorite things you have gleaned from white people?
gleaned. Let's see. That's a good question. I think a lot of the music I really like. So there's like some random songs that you never think I would like. So like Stacey Orico, Stuck. You heard that song? I fucking love that song, bro.
I don't think I.
It's like super like poppy teen girl shit that came out like in the early 2000s, and I love that song to this day.
I don't
Oh,
think
it's in Mad Dog. It's in Stuck in the Suburbs.
Love. What a good decom.
That song's fire. That song's fire. And then we have another one. Let's go with Rob Zombie.
Okay.
I really fuck with Rob Zombie. I like Metallica.
huge Dave Matthews guy, right?
Am I?
Yeah.
No. No. I'm not like super fans of this stuff. I just like I've liked it over the years. I'm trying to think what else. Well, give me some white stuff.
I love that it's like his answer was
Pause.
three bands.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything other than music?
Well, I'm trying to think.
I just would have assumed being in locker rooms for so long with, you know, black dudes and white dudes that you would have picked up some stuff.
I don't mean to stereotype,
Okay.
but
But you're about to.
a lot of white dude humor is just gay jokes, bunch of gay jokes, and it would be funny, but it just
Big D's like, yeah.
From time to time.
it'd be funny, but like a lot of it was like really weird. So a lot of it was like dudes would like tuck their stuff and run around, shit like that, slapping each other with towels, and we was just like, fam, Why?
Putting it around your wrist like a G-cock instead of a G-shock.
Never did that one. Never saw
Oh,
that one.
yeah.
What?
You never did that?
Nah, never
No.
So you used to like wrap it around your wrist and be like, oh shit, what time is it? And get somebody to look almost like that game and be like, dude, come on.
Yeah, no, I never saw that one.
You have to stretch it out real hard like Play-Doh
Yeah, I bet
to
you
get
do.
there. Yeah.
I bet you. Yeah, but no, it was always
an
like
issue.
it was always like that. It was always very that sense of humor was very prevalent.
Okay.
And I don't know nowadays what the locker rooms is like. I was actually talking to my homeboy when I went to the funeral for my buddy, and I was talking to Kareem Jackson. So he was in the league early when I was, but he's still playing. So he's going on like year 15.
Corner, right?
Yeah, he switched to safety, I think. But he was like, dog, the locker room's just, he's like, it's nowhere near the same anymore. He was saying like how dudes, when we came into the league, I made it a point to like go see how the older heads used to work, what they used to do, so I can kind of learn up under their tutelage how to be a pro, stuff like that. He said the kids nowadays come in, they like, get your old ass on, like, you know, like, you old head, like, I got they're not trying to learn from the older cats. And he's like, it's just a different era, like like the music, he's like, it's just different, everything's different. He's like, I don't even try anymore. He's like some kids, he's like, the real special ones, they'll come like, hey, what are you thinking here, what are you thinking here? But he's like, the majority of them kids, he's just like, they just don't listen. And he's like, they don't want to listen, they know it all.
And
like,
so many
damn.
coming into the league now have money.
They got bread already, so the humility's kind of gone. And I kind of saw that coming because when you have young kids getting money without the proper education, this is the direct result of that. But it's the system that they created.
Oh, if I was 20 getting some of these checks that these dudes are getting, like at Texas or wherever, everywhere, essentially every big school,
Yeah,
I would have been wild.
Yeah, but yeah, locker room was a fun place, man.
And it's about to be more when the House decision gets settled and all that. Then they'll get paid by the schools directly. And then I believe there's still going to be the collectives and stuff existing to recruit guys. So you're going to get more on top of that.
Yeah.
It's due, but if you really care about these kids, you're gonna have financial systems set in place for them, or financial education systems set in place for them. Like, there's plenty of ways that you protect child actors with like stuff like putting in escrow and stuff like that. There's ways to protect kids from themselves.
I would imagine once they start getting paid by the schools themselves, some of that will happen. Because right now the schools are like, oh, we don't, whatever those people do, if they want to pay, that's awesome. But we don't. So once they have to do it, I would imagine there will be some more more of that, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, foolish to give kids that much money and not teach them about financial literacy.
You have to, dog. Like, I mean, I play with dudes that don't really understand that shit, and I mean, to this day, I know a little bit about money, but I know enough to protect myself, right?
Yeah,
and I say that in comparison to people who went to school. There's people who go to school for finance, right? This is a lot to juggle. It's a lot to understand with all these markets, and it's hard to understand all this shit. And if you don't have the humility to sit down and be like, I need help, I don't know how to manage money. I would say the average American doesn't know how to manage money. Like,
and if you see somebody in that position, you're likely, if you don't know anything, you're going to take their advice. You know, like if you're in a financial advisor, and then you see people getting screwed out of their own money.
Sharks, man.
Yeah.
And to me, that's on the institutions. It's on the institutions, the NCAAs, the NFLs, the NBAs, to say, okay, this is these are shark-infested waters. There needs to be higher bar set to even be able to come into this pool to have access to these players.
Yeah.
There needs to be standards that are met, ethics, things that need to be sorted out, because if not, you have what you have now. This my man's put it best, who's my financial advisor and one of my best friends, is my best friend. He said, if I go to a hospital and their success rate was or their for 78% of the people that went to this hospital, they left ill, or they had bad treatment, or whatever the case may be. He's like, at what point do you say, okay, maybe it's not the patient's fault, and we start looking at the doctors? He's like, that's what's going on at the financial institutions with sports. He's like, we keep saying 78% of all NFL players end up leaving broke. Well, at what point do we say, okay, let's start looking at the system around them rather than just blaming the football players for being down? And that's what I think it is. It's just, and it's not just athletes get a bad rap for being stupid or whatever, but everybody's got their own lane. And if you if you allow these people access that have nefarious motives, this is a result of that. And I blame the institutions, but I go off along.
You think they should do? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, because mine's different.
Do you think they should do more as far as like offering deferred money? Like how I think one of the best deals in sports is Bobby Bonilla's deal. Like where you could take, like, let's say you were in the league now, 4 years, 50 million or whatever.
Right.
If you could opt in and have your advisor be like, let's take a third, put it in a non-taxable bracket, and you're going to get paid out before you're 60. Right. You know, like start it, you get whatever you earned right when you exit the league. Right. Because it's got to be tough to go from, even as a minimum player, making $500,000 to going to a regular job where you're going to start out at like 80, 100 or whatever.
That would be tough to just like implement that, because then what you're basically telling people is you're not trustworthy enough to manage your own money. And although across the board that may be the correct decision, I don't think it bodes well for, I think, any kind of longevity purposes with trust and contracts, and I just don't think it's a good look. But I know some cats. So like friends, Allen Iverson. So when he's 65 or 55 or something like that, he gets like 60 M's or something from Reebok, something like that. I wouldn't mind some kind of clause like that. I mean, that's basically essentially what like a 401k is and stuff. But
60 is crazy to get it. 65 is like to get that amount for that amount
of
money.
Is Reebok going to exist in 20 years?
It's written in. I don't know, but it's written in.
Yeah, they have. That's part of like bankruptcy and shit. You have to pay out. Like a lot of those unions that have retirement, there has to be some kind of.
I feel like I haven't heard from Reebok in a long time.
No,
I think honestly, if I think one of the best course of actions is all these financial institutions that usually are in bed with other agents. I think that the NFL should hire a separate auditing company, and they should audit random audits on the NFL every year, and they should randomly audit. That's what I really like about my financial setup is like my firm audits themselves. They hire a separate firm and they audit themselves every single year. And sometimes you're selected, sometimes you're not, right? Mm-hmm. It's they randomize it. And so if the NFL is responsible for like auditing like these financial advisors, I feel like that checks and balance would be a lot more manageable. And so, and it's also transparency is the biggest key to financial literacy is like transparency. Like, where are you at? If for people that are like trying to save money, and it's hard to look at your bank account sometimes. Like, you know, it's intimidating, right? But you got to be honest about where you're at in order to get to where you want to go.
It was probably easier whenever you signed your sign-in bonus. That was probably easier
to look at your bank account. That doesn't hurt for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure like the average American, this is great advice is just being honest about where you're at. All right, if I have $1,500 in my bank account, that's what I have. That's what I have to work with. That's what I have to manage. That's what it is. All right, now set these goals, set these savings goals, now save that money, and you can see that grow over time. I've seen it happen with people that work regular jobs, but you get very intimidated and you get very, very disillusioned by the Joneses. That's a real thing too. You try to keep up with everybody. And
so how was that whenever you leave after, I mean, obviously you made a good amount of money in the NFL. How was it your first year when those paychecks aren't rolling in on Monday morning?
I made a good living, so it wasn't like my life didn't change, right? So I wasn't living check to check. So I didn't, like when the check hit, I wasn't like, okay, good, I'm glad that hit. Not as fun, though. No, yeah. So it's like I have so much set away and set aside that like, and I live very modestly. I don't really do anything or spend my money on anything just because I'm so afraid of being broke, because I grew up like that I just don't really do anything. And so now I've gotten to the point now where there were some things I did early on that are really paying dividends now. Like during the pandemic, I felt really bad because the world is in turmoil, and I made a lot of money. And I felt horrible. Those were the consequences of my actions when I was like 2015, 2014 of things that I did.
I want to feel bad so bad.
Well, it is a weird feeling being like having my worldview of having, you know, reaping the benefits of, you know, the fruits of my labor, but also understanding that not everybody gets to live like this, because I didn't You know, I grew up like really struggling. Sometimes the lights wasn't on. Sometimes we didn't have water, and sometimes you get like, what do they call it? Survivor's remorse. Same kind of feel. It's just, I mean, I think it's easy to be like, yeah, man, I would, but it's hard. It's hard sometimes because I always tell people having freedom, like real freedom, is very scary. Like when I don't got to answer to nobody.
Yeah.
I don't have it. I had to really go through therapy and understand myself. It's a real thing.
Finding that motivation, that's something after you have achieved like what your goal is in life. I would imagine that's very tough.
Because a job is distracting. It's necessary. We all need jobs, right? But it's distracting you from yourself. And when you actually have financial freedom to where I don't have anybody to go to or anybody to oversee what I'm doing, nobody has to tell me anything, my basic needs are met, I can wake up and do what I want to do. That is what freedom is, right? And if you're not prepared for it, or at least prepared, or if you understand that that is a journey in itself, it is debilitating. And I've seen guys go through depressive states where they heavy drug usage or just depression in general, and it's hard to convince people like, yo, actual freedom is scary because like it's easy for you to say that, but bro,
and attention, right? Like that's got to be tough from going from somebody that has a microphone in your face every day asking your opinion on whatever's going on, and then next thing you know, your phone's not ringing asking you for nearly as many interviews and shit.
Well, that's part of the depression, right? No, society doesn't hate. I don't think there's nobody that society hates more than ex-athletes, dog. It's fascinating. Like, people hate ex-athletes unless it's your favorite ex-athlete, right? But for the majority part, like, you're just like, you just washed away. Nobody cares about you. And if you're not okay with that, if you're not okay with like the wash cycle of you're has been, you're washed up, used to be, you know, like that shit, it can fuck with you. Like, I don't think so. For me, the way I kind of like dealt with it and coped with it was like, I never thought highly of myself in general. Not like I had low self-confidence, but I never thought that what I did gave me any kind of like social leverage over anybody. So I didn't feel more or less important than anybody else. I was just really good at carrying a white ball over a line. Like a ball over a white line. That's just how I rationalized it in my head. And I was like, it's crazy that people like this shit. So it never got to my head. So there was nothing about that aspect of my life that I revered.
Yeah.
So fame was always kind of weird to me anyway.
And it's probably freeing to do a podcast like this, where most of your opinions that were out there were football related.
Yeah.
Like, what are you guys going to do? And now you have like the platform to talk about things that are actually important to you that you think matters. Yeah. And
sometimes I forget sometimes that I do this and I love doing this, but sometimes I forget that it goes out. You know what I mean? So it feels like just conversation between friends. We're just talking.
Yeah, right.
So it doesn't feel like, and so I think a lot of the times, like when I have opinions, and you probably feel like this too, like when you have opinions and you see the backlash from those opinions and you're like, damn, I didn't even think that this was going out. I just, you forget because you're just so loosely talking about things with the homies. Like that's how it feels.
I mean, it was crazy when like the script thing happened.
It was insane.
And that turned into like the NFL's entire marketing campaign for a year.
Insane.
And it was just like you bullshitting.
Yeah. And but you've seen me do thousands of times with PFT just joking. And then that turned into a whole thing.
I'm pretty sure we had said that before.
Probably.
Like that specific thing.
Probably.
And it just like, sometimes a clip.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be something that's like a throwaway topic, like a throwaway little comment that people are like, oh shit.
Yep. And there's no such thing as nuance in the court of public opinion. So, but that's life, man. It is what it is. We live, we grade, we grow, we die, rinse, wash,
sore
repeat. Sore shoulders, man. From getting hit by cars.
Yeah. I had one more thing I wanted to talk to you about, and it loosely ties into football. Did you see the Navy clip?
Did not see the Navy clip.
Okay, so Navy is practicing. Obviously, it's fall camp, and the head coach pulls one of the players out. He says, hey, come over here. And in front of the whole team, he goes, your sister just won a gold medal at the Olympics. And the whole team goes like crazy, and they're jumping on him shit.
Hey, your sister just won a gold medal, bro. Yeah!
But everybody watched the video and they were like, why did you not let this guy watch his sister
Or the whole team.
in the Olympics?
Yeah, that's pretty shitty.
And so I was like, you could have. I think she won the triple jump. So it,
Wait, so how did he know? He just got word, or he was watching?
I think the coaches were watching.
That's
it.
fucked up.
And then they're like, "Hey, your sister just won gold," and the whole team, like, he's hugging the coaches. I'd be so
he was,
pissed.
you know,
Yeah.
he was the only member of their family, like their immediate family, that wasn't there
really?
because he couldn't go.
I understand. I understand.
I missed the birth of my first daughter.
Dog,
Go
like
to
with
camp, yeah.
with this, especially at the Naval Academy, the Service Academy schools, they all preach
Right.
service and family
Yeah.
so much, and there's been across the military, there's been like real effort into making people's family lives better, because that's like the biggest drawback for a lot of people is I'm not going to be around my family, I'm going to deploy for my family. So even in some combat zones, like if you're not doing direct combat operations and there's like a pregnancy or something that happens and your wife's about to give birth, you can leave now and go back and witness it. Maybe you'll be there for a week and a half or something like that, a week, and then you got to go back. But they're trying to do that, which is great. Not having the ability to even roll out a TV like on a cart, like you're in fourth grade still.
Damn,
is,
they still do those?
And they have like in their practice facility, big ass screens that are 4K.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
throw it on that for 10 minutes.
I
and
mean,
let
I think
the guy watch
even
his
as a
sister.
coach, I think you schedule practice around that, because that
Right.
doesn't ever happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah, it's crazy. There was the clip of the Lions quarterback from the last Olympics, and his wife was in
Yes.
it, and they had like
So cute.
the whole team in the meeting room, like watching. Like that's really
it's
cool.
a moment. It's bonding
You
experience.
could have,
Yeah.
even if you were like, we have to have practice at this time, whatever, you could have brought out a couple iPads and
Anything.
watched it.
There are so
and
many
that's a
options
period.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So
Like-
many options. And you're
Football
at the
coaches are
Naval,
assholes, bro.
you're at the Naval Academy. It's fucking Americans that are
Yeah.
doing it.
That's true,
You would think
yeah.
it would be okay.
Yeah, nah, 1,000%. I think you should absolutely have been able to watch your sister in the Olympics.
And
though.
how did
It's crazy that you even have to make that
Yeah,
like
I
it's
mean-
controversial. Look, listen,
I'ma
if your
say it.
sister's in there, I think you should do
I'm
it.
gonna say it.
and how did nobody think when they were posting that? Like, does this look shitty?
It-
Like,
Or while
Yeah.
it's happening, like, oh, we're gonna
Yeah.
go out there and tell him. Why couldn't he watch? Even if it was just him.
That's why. And what was the event?
I think it was the triple jump.
Oh,
I saw.
bro, it's been so fast.
Yeah, takes 10 seconds.
That's crazy.
And they know the order. It's not like the order
Yeah,
is
you know the
surprising.
order.
So
Just-
like, how
just-
long does it take them to come inside?
I don't
10
know.
minutes.
There's plenty of times where coaches, like, through perks or something like that, they'll cancel practice. You go make this field goal, cut off 3
Yeah.
periods, shit like that all the time, bro. This is a moment where he'll never get that back.
And 30 minutes isn't going to cause you to lose to Rutgers. Like even if the whole
Listen,
team
bro, no
shuts down.
offense, but you're Navy. You're not gonna win that many games anyway.
Exactly
Sorry.
right. Yeah.
This is a crazy, like this. I mean, this is just Twitter, but somebody replied to the tweet, said, "Tough look to not let him watch his sister compete in the Olympics." Somebody responded to that and said, "Some of these men will miss births of their children, birthdays, sporting events, and so much more. Honor and respect their commitment to serve their country."
Right,
It's like,
and
bro,
those
he's not
things should-
serving his country yet. He's at football practice.
Yeah. And also, they should be able to witness a lot of things that are
Yeah.
happening there. Because people look at, like, the military, like, everybody's a Navy SEAL. Dude, a majority, 95%, are sitting behind a desk.
So that's what be killing me about the politicians. Like, I served, and that's what's up. But like most of y'all was pushing papers. Like
Right.
most of y'all was pushing papers.
Yeah,
though.
like JD. And one, I hate, like, going back to current events. Walz, he did 24 years in the National
I
Guard.
meant to ask you something about that, but go ahead.
He did 24 years in the National Guard. Vance did his 4 years and went to Afghanistan or Iraq, wherever he went. And Walz went to Italy in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. Both sides are like shitting on the other person's service.
Right.
Like based on, did he go to combat? What job did he have? All this. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
Like they both served. They did their thing.
Right.
Thanks for your service and be on your damn way.
Right.
There's plenty of policy shit that actually matters.
Yeah.
I don't think military service makes you qualified to do a goddamn thing in the government.
I think it's like a badge of honor. Well, it is a badge of
For
honor.
sure.
But especially in the political world, it's like you're in public service. I did the epitome of public service and risked my life for
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like they're using it. Like, but I don't think it should ever be used as a cudgel like they're using it now.
Yeah, like I think it's a good thing. Obviously, I did it. Like I think it's a good thing to serve your country. it is JD Vance or Walz being a military member will affect my vote nothing.
Yeah.
And even if I was on the
And
fence,
you actually served.
yeah, if it was even if I was on the fence, like a legit centralist, and I'm not sure how I was going to vote, like in a different presidential election, somebody being in the military would not affect my vote at all.
Right.
And in fact, I would love it if we went back and had like Secretary of Defense, how it's designed, somebody that didn't serve. Like I think those are the best secretaries of defense. Like Austin now is a 4-star general. Mattis before that, 4-star general. I think you need to have the separation of complete military control as like a general and being in charge of that to the Secretary of Defense, because it's a different operation.
It's like an unbiased
Yeah,
eye on
yeah.
it.
It's.
Okay.
I think it's the equivalent of being like you needed to be a Hall of Famer in order to be a coach. Like that's just ridiculous. You being really good at being a linebacker doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a great head coach.
Most players are usually not good coaches, at least in basketball.
Is that true?
Larry Bird wasn't a good coach.
Didn't they make it to the
Billy
conference
Russell
finals?
was. Yeah, they made it to the
I thought they
conference
made it to
final.
the conference finals.
Yeah.
Well, he got fired, right?
I mean, basketball coaches get fired all the time.
Or no, maybe we talked about this because
I thought Larry
he
Bird
was
made it
okay, but there were who else?
I think in basketball, I think that's
Jason
where
Kidd's
it happens
first
the
go
most.
around was rough.
Jason Kidd was bad.
I think
But
he
he's
made some
decent
friends
now.
this
Like,
season.
he's-
Yeah, but I'm saying he's a good
he's a
coach.
good
I
coach
think
now.
basketball
Isaiah-
players make good coaches.
Isaiah
actually.
Thomas was bad, right?
Yeah, I think he was a bad one.
Could have been. I don't know enough about his resume.
Steve Kerr is good, but
No,
he inherited
He is a great coach.
he inherited a juggernaut.
But he
though.
still did a good job for that
bro.
long.
Like you can fumble that bag.
Steve Nash was really bad.
He was a head coach?
Where was he then?
Oh, was it Nets, right?
Oh wow,
Wasn't he? Yeah.
I think
I think
so.
it was the Nets.
I forgot.
But there's
about
also some basketball players that are better as coaches, like Tyronn Lue. Like
that.
he's
Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
Steve Kerr is
true.
way better.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, I just want to give him his flowers. Eric Spoelstra is a great coach.
Outstanding.
He may be one of the best coaches of all time. He just needs he needs some dogs on his team.
Yeah, for not having like 3 superstars now.
Bro,
he does a good job.
He's amazing. He's amazing.
So Lenny Wilkins was good.
Is he still the all-time wins leader?
I'm not sure. I'm looking. Bill Russell was pretty good for the time. So maybe they're fine.
I think they're okay in basketball.
Football, who were coaches that like right now there's Antonio Pierce, but he's been doing it.
No,
for
the Texans.
D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah.
yeah, but we don't know.
I mean, if they don't make it deep into the playoffs this year, I'll be surprised.
Dan Campbell.
Yeah, they should be good.
They're going to be really good. this
Yeah.
year.
Doug Peterson.
See, and that's what I think.
Frank Wright.
So maybe we're actually wrong because I think player coaches are the best coaches because they understand it at a different level, but they also let players be players. You know what I mean? Coaches in general have this like militaristic do as I say vibe, whereas player coaches are like, hey, we gotta get this shit done. More like a let's do it rather than you have to, you know what I mean? But I don't know. We'll have to pull up the stats on that one day.
Before we get into our topic today, want to talk to you about ButcherBox. Get incredible deals on premium cuts from ButcherBox. ButcherBox helps make weeknight meals easier by having meat on hand in the freezer. Whether you're at a barbecue for Labor Day, enjoying a summer sunset, ButcherBox lets you be prepared at all times. Easily find high-quality meat and seafood you can trust. 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork-raised, crate-free, and wild-caught seafood. They've got everything. It's all awesome. Delivered right to your doorstep with free shipping. Choose from ground chicken, ground sirloin, or ground pork for free in every order for a year. Plus, get $20 off your first order with code DOSE, D-O-S-E. Visit butcherbox.com/dose. That's up to $236 in savings for the year. Again, that's code DOSE, D-O-S-E, or visit butcherbox.com/dose to redeem your offer now.
All right, so now we're going to get into the Vietnam War, and we got Chaps on, and I think given your background and everything, I think you kind of take point on this for how it goes because there's some interesting stuff that goes on, and it's really not my field of expertise, and neither is the Big T. So that's what we thought you'd be a great guest to have on to kind of like take us through because there's a lot of interesting shit that transpired, man. So
People wanted this one.
Yeah, people
we
wanted
asked
this
on Monday night what people wanted. They said Vietnam.
Yeah.
I don't know if I found out today that today is the day that the what's it called? The Gulf of Tonkin resolution or whatever
yep.
was passed that kind of like didn't officially, the war never officially started, I guess, but it was kind of like the kickoff.
Green lit the.
Yeah,
It never officially started.
Yeah.
right.
Ever.
So I don't know if people knew that and that's why they said it, but yeah, people said do Vietnam.
All right, so I think we'll start with that. We'll start with the Tonkin Gulf resolution because I think it so coincides of still where we're at. I think this major conflict, and maybe Korea too, was really the beginning of having the executive branch take the power of the government. Because once you give control to the executive branch and allow the executive branch to essentially declare war by themselves, that's how you end up with Iraq, Afghanistan.
Right.
It's how you end up with the Vietnam situation. So whenever it happened, there was 3 ships that were attacked. It was the USS Maddox, which was a Navy destroyer, and they thought that, and the USS Maddox and the Turner Joy were the 2 that were really hit. And these were by North Vietnamese torpedo boats. So they looked at what happened. There was some deaths that were involved, obviously, like American deaths. And once that happens, there is going to be an initial response. And I think the parallels to what happened in Iraq are so spot on, because even though that happened, and it, like, what, 9/11, they could have gotten a military action for anywhere in the world based on 9/11,
Right.
saying that that's the perpetrators. We need to go in and make sure that we clean house. And at like November 12th, every American, just about like 95% of Americans would have signed up for that. Like, let's go. Somebody needs to pay.
So along that lines, like, this is how a lot of, and to me, not saying that it has any validity, but I think the reasoning has validity behind it as to how a lot of those conspiracy theories start for, like, false flag operations. We create an event, and because of that event, we have corresponding actions or subsequent actions that we have to take that will get everybody on board. Like I said, I don't think there's any validity to that, to the 9/11 stuff. But the reasoning behind a lot of those conspiracy theories, I think, are valid because our government has done a lot of things in the past that are very devious.
Yeah, and this whole thing, I mean, they could say it was about the ships that were attacked. It was about communism because it was in the height of the Cold War,
Yes.
and you saw another country in the Asian part of the world, in Asia, that was going to go communist because the North in Vietnam was very much going that direction, and they were sending different kind of troublemakers, I guess, to the South to make sure, to try to get them propaganda, essentially, to get them over to the communist side. And so America was worried that that would infect the rest of Vietnam, that it would transfer over to the Philippines, and then there would be like a cyclical effect of where communism was going to come.
So it was the Viet Minh, right? Viet Minh, and then I think the southern was the Viet Cong.
Yes.
If I'm doing that correctly, and I think it was the Viet Cong that was that were going to be communists and getting funded by Russia and China, correct?
Yeah, so they were trying to make it, because if you're with countries that are same ideology as you,
Right.
like, that's the reason why allies exist.
Yep.
Like, we're not allies with the UK because we just like them inherently and like they have a really cool castle. Like, that's not the reason why. It's because their democratic processes are pretty similar to ours. Same thing with Australia and Italy and Spain. Like, those countries are basically the same.
Right.
So you see it kind of like in the Arab world now, where there's a lot of ideology that's similar. Like, it's not the exact same by any
Right.
means, but there's some similarities there. So the United Arab League, it like stands up because they have commonality in how they want to govern. And then you have like NATO, for example, a lot of similarities in NATO countries and how we get down.
Right.
They were worried that communism, that then you would
spread.
also have across the globe different bigger countries that were a threat, either nuclear or militarily, against the United States.
So that was the reasoning behind getting involved in this conflict, because they didn't want communism to spread, and it was in the height of the Cold War.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
continue.
So I think Vietnam as a whole is a very difficult podcast to do. So
yeah, sure. It's just so many moving facets. There were 2 wars that preceded this. it's a lot more complicated than like I said. This isn't my bag, but it was very fascinating reading about it.
Yeah, so I think one of the things, if you guys want to talk about that I really found fascinating, and I didn't know this until I think like 2 years ago. I was doing some research for a different guest. Rocky Bauer actually was a running back for the Steelers, and he is a Purple Heart recipient and was kind of a badass in Vietnam, did a lot of shit. So I was looking into it, and I came across Project 100,000.
Okay.
And so Project 100,000, and again, the parallels between my war in Iraq and Afghanistan to here is crazy. So right now it's currently happening too. Right now the Navy has dropped their education requirements, their scores, the military version of the SAT, which is called the ASVAB. You have to get a certain score to get into the military, just to prove that you're kind of smart enough to do it, like for one of the jobs. Now they have dropped, because you're having a recruiting crisis now, they've dropped the requirements for the Navy. Like, you can damn near not read and get into the Navy right now.
There's a guy on TikTok who does, like, shows you the questions from that exam, and like they're
easy.
Shockingly easy.
Yeah. And there is some, like, if you don't have a mechanical brain, for example, like there's certain jobs that you can have in the military that you don't need to be a rocket scientist for. Like I think mechanics in general are very smart people. Right. Like being able to identify a problem with the machine that's as complicated as that to change it out. You don't need a traditional education really to be able to do that. You can learn on the job, or it's something that's inherent that you can do.
Right.
But there is a point where you're not able to do this job. And that's what Project 100,000 was about, because the draft wasn't producing enough people, because we were losing so many people in Vietnam at the time. And volunteers were way down because nobody wanted to go to that war. It wasn't like a 9/11 situation. Like after 9/11, after World War II, people flocked to sign up. Vietnam was not that way at all. So in order to get around those issues of not having enough people, they developed Project 100,000. And what the idea with that was to bring in 100,000 people after you unbelievably drop the requirements down. So the group, it's called Project 100,000, but the nickname of it is McNamara's Morons. And McNamara was the Secretary of Defense at the time, and he developed this program where you drop down the requirements of being able to get in to the military. And they did it to the point where these people became essentially cannon fodder. They put them in positions that were going, like the biggest example
camp bodies.
Yeah, like it was just cannon fodder. Like, you're going to the front lines. We're going to train you very loosely, where you're just going to be able to go in and move and shoot, essentially. A lot of cooks were involved in it. Positions that you typically don't have to, and I hate this to say you don't have to think, because infantry people think a lot, like tactics and all that kind of stuff. But they used them in those positions. And think Forrest Gump is a great example. Like, there's a reason why Forrest and Bubba were both dumb on the show. They were McNamara's Morons.
So we were talking about this a little bit earlier. You're saying that was intentionally put in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know for sure,
right.
But when I did the research on McNamara's Morons, it was the first thing that came.
Right.
Because remember, like when Forrest was going to school,
right.
He was too dumb to go to the regular school,
yeah.
like to the point that his mom had to fuck his principal
right.
to get him in there.
I forgot about
so
that part.
he couldn't. your mom's sure to care about your schooling, son.
You ever seen Forrest Gump?
Yeah. I've seen it. It's been a long time. I don't recall that at all.
And there's so many things about them. One of the biggest drawbacks was Commander saying, look, we like having people, but these dudes require so much more training, so much individual attention. Right. And you see that in scenes in like Forrest Gump when he's dealing with the drill instructor and he's like, Jesus H. Christ, Gump, why did you put that weapon together so quickly? Because you told me to, drill sergeant. Like, it's just a thing that a dumb person would say, but it made him good at his job. Right. You know, like that is what you're kind of supposed to do in a lot of situations, is just do what you're told. But these people that came back, I think it was one of those programs where it's good initiative, bad judgment, where you look at people who aren't necessarily getting great jobs, like kind of like you're the Walmart greeter of the world, like that type of person. They would bring them in, give them training, like to be a mechanic, like to be a line cook. And they were saying that these people that probably won't have great jobs that they'll be able to support a family or even themselves, now they can come into the military and gain that experience, gain that training. And then once they leave in 4 years, they'll have the ability to be better versions of themselves because they have that. And across the board, military, really traditionally, that's one of the main things that people want. Like, I'm not a college guy. Like, I don't want to go to college right now, so I'm going to join the military and have a career for myself, get the money to go to college if I want to, have the ability to get a house. So there was some good things that happened as a result. But the treatment of these people was absolutely deplorable. Like, you could have the initiative to have that, but then the ability to follow through or the actualization of following through never really happened.
Right.
So the combat deaths for them was so much higher. Like, I think it's like 44. I wrote it down. I think it's 44% higher casualty rate than
from
like
that group to okay,
comparatively. Like, veteran homelessness for that group was out of this world. Like, if you look at the highest amount of homeless veterans, it's still Vietnam veterans. Even with
is it really? Wow.
Even after 20 years of the war on terror, it's still Vietnam veterans that are.
And you're saying that's directly correlated to Project 1000?
I think there's a good portion of that, like a much high. There's definitely going to be people that weren't in McNamara's morons that are going to be in that group too, but a lot were. I mean, think about it. If you have a limited mental capacity, and through no fault of your own, just the way that you're born, you go over to Vietnam, you're in a war zone, and you experienced even things like what Forrest Gump did, like where you're seeing dead bodies, you're having to run out. Your ability to mentally process that is going to be much lower than somebody who's mentally equipped to do that has that ability. It was horrible what they did to these people, like horrible.
Right.
And there was no real apology from the United States that they did that. And
what about admission?
There was some admission that it was a bad idea because he was all about it. It wasn't a secret thing at all, and people knew about it. But like now, people simply did not care because at this point in the war, the American public only has the attention span for a little while. Like, think about how much
there was just a presidential assassination attempt. That's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you have that's going on. The war in Ukraine. Yeah. No one cares about like Russian aggression anymore. Really, like they don't talk about that.
Right.
Palestine and Israel was all over the news. 10 months into that, people don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
Like there is, don't get me wrong.
There's a
like
faction, for sure.
There is people, but it's not covered in the news like a 24 news cycle like it is now.
I also think where it's happening matters too.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, if anything like that is happening here, I think it's,
I mean, how many do you see coverage of Darfur on national news?
Exactly.
Like it never happened. You know, you don't know what Al-Shabaab is doing in the Horn of Africa or Somalia and like the Sudan and the wars that were happening there, Uganda, like countless of other places. But the Ukraine looks like our media. Mm-hmm. So I think that hit a little bit harder.
Yep.
A main adversary versus people that look like the media here.
I agree. Israel as well.
Yeah. So I think that's a big part of it. But if you have a long war, you're going to have people drop. So even though they knew, that's what really bothers me about what we're doing now. They know without a shadow of a doubt what McNamara's morons did to these people. They simply do not care and are doing it again.
When you say they're doing it again, in what capacity?
The standards lowered dramatically for the Navy and the Army. The Marine Corps and the Air Force typically have enough people that want to join those two branches where they don't have to do it nearly as much. But the Army and the Navy have struggled for a while in recruiting. So they lowered their standards to get their numbers because America has to have our numbers. And now they're willing to get it anywhere they can. Because I think the numbers, 66% of all people in America that are 27 and below, 27 to 18, would not qualify. Like they don't have the ability. If you smoke weed more than 3 times in your life, can't do it.
Really?
Yeah, you can get a little bit of a waiver sometimes, but you can't if you're ever on ADHD medicine, can't do it. Like because if you have ADHD, that's a disqualifier. Now, then they put in this system in place where it's called MHS Genesis. And it's where all kinds of civilian and military and medical records essentially across the board are compiled into one place. So you could see what somebody's medical history is, even if it wasn't DOD, and you have to do those screenings. So when people, now that they have accurate portrayal of what people went through medically, asthma, for example, another disqualifier. How many people do you know that don't have either depression, ADHD, or what was the other one that I just said? Asthma. Like that is such a large segment of the population, and that didn't smoke weed. So you're already having a pool of people. That's why I think the woke military thing is really tough, because your primary enlisters are from the South. Like
what is the woke military thing?
Like where DEI stuff, where they're trying to have inclusion, where they're teaching about inclusion, where they're having like, we do training all the time, for example, like we do training on how to treat people with respect, like domestic violence training, like all the different, probably very similar to what a locker room goes through, where you have like different lessons that are taught about what happens in society. So they see some of those things, and there'll be an occasional post, like in Pride Month, for example, the Navy on their Instagram will change the border of their seal to be a rainbow. And people act like that's the end of the world, when in actuality, it just helps people who are still in the military. I mean, you could be in the military now where you weren't allowed to be gay.
Yeah.
Because that 2012. 2012 is when that ended.
Right.
And so they look at, so you do need to have some
Damn, that shit was recent.
Right.
Wow.
Like even Obama at the beginning was against it.
No, 100%. Yeah.
Like and that changed. And the argument forever was that it's going to create a weaker environment. There's been absolutely no change in military readiness. And in fact, I talked to the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. I was actually the first person ever to give an interview in that house. And he's the chief enlisted person in the Marine Corps. And I asked him, I was like, the same kind of question. Do you think that the Marine Corps is more woke? What do you think
should be killing me, though.
Yeah. And he was like, we are more inclusive than we've ever been, but we are also the most lethal Marine Corps that we've ever been. So it's not one or the other. Like you'll have the Ted Cruzes of the world that look at our military now, and then they'll look at a recruiting video from Russia and they'll be totally different. Well, the culture is totally different.
Right. So
you have to bring in people, and treating people with general respect sometimes in woke circles.
But also, how much is hand-to-hand combat in modern day warfare a thing? Is it that?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
No. I mean,
who can press the button the fastest, ain't it?
I bet you have like percentage of people that are involved in any type of hand-to-hand combat. 0.1.
That's what
like
I'm saying. That's
0.01. Like there's like nobody. I don't know a single person that laid hands on, except for like to take them into custody or something like that, or after they were already dead, touched a person.
Right.
Like a adversary in combat. Right. It just doesn't happen.
Gotcha.
Why would it? Like you have drones, you have all kinds of shit, you have long range weapons, you have 18 gunships that are coming over, Hellfire missiles from helicopters.
So it's
you
just
have
more
all that
equipment
shit.
training.
Yeah, like there's no reason to.
Right.
That's why when you go to a country that doesn't have those things, air superiority is what's really important.
Right.
Except for in places like Vietnam. Like once you start talking jungle warfare,
guerrilla warfare,
that's a little bit different.
Right.
And Iraq and Afghanistan were guerrilla warfare too, but in a very, very different way.
Gotcha.
Like I've done jungle warfare training, and it is brutal.
Right.
Like what you have to go through. Like the guys in Vietnam, that's the reason why they had to do McNamara's morons, because once reports started coming back of what people were experiencing for their deployment, sometimes for 15, 17 months of staying there and doing direct combat operations all the time.
Jesus.
So McNamara's morons on its face makes sense. You need these people to do this. need in Vietnam is a heavy term. Like, I don't think we should have been there ever.
Yeah, great.
But you need those people.
So is Vietnam? Well, I guess from your perspective, is Vietnam very much so like Iraq was for you, where it was like kind of like a false flag operation, didn't need to be there, and it was our government kind of bullying a situation that didn't, because like I wanted to get into some of the stuff that actually happened. I think there was like a ship explosion or something that may or may not have happened that gave the president
that was the Tonkin.
Yeah. But there was one, I think it was on August 2nd, and then August 4th was the one that
the first one happened,
right?
And it like it wasn't really a big deal,
right.
But they made it seem like it was a big deal. Then they lied about another one 2 days later. They're like, they keep doing this shit. We got to go do whatever we want, basically.
Right. And then there was something called the Phoenix Program. This was interesting. So the Phoenix Program was the CIA provided suggestions for political platforms, supported candidates, used agency resources to refute electoral fraud charges, manipulated the certification of election results by the South Vietnamese National Assembly. And they instituted something called the Phoenix Program, which was designed to identify and destroy the Viet Cong, which was the communist-backed faction of the North. And so they described it as a set of programs that sought to attack and destroy political infrastructure of the Viet Cong. So this is like propaganda programs that were meant to cause infighting. All of this stuff implemented by the CIA, election interference, like all of this stuff to cause chaos within those ranks, which is a very characteristic of the CIA.
Oh, for sure.
And this is kind of what they do is they're like the first arbiters of misinformation, and they want to confuse people and destroy from the inside out. And I kind of just wanted to get your thoughts on that aspect of the American government that is prevalent throughout the world.
Yeah, and I think it's like here, for example, like we look at, Russia shouldn't be meddling in our elections, which I 1,000% agree with.
Right.
We do it all over the world,
right,
and have for decades.
Right.
Haiti's different,
right,
and it will be for a long time because of our actions there.
Right.
Uganda is another one.
Mm-hmm.
Like you find a place that you have a vested interest in, and you sow discord in a lot of ways, and it's incredibly effective the way that we do it. But I think it's one of those ugly truths where you don't want to admit that it happens, because I think that there is something to be said about American exceptionalism and how we view American exceptionalism, where really, like, there's so many things on the freedom scale that we fall well behind other developed countries. Like the Heritage Foundation, which is one of the most, it's who has Project 25. They even rank us number 16 on the world freedom scale right now. And in fact, there's another organization that says that we're a struggling democracy right now. That if you are an LGBTQ person and you're coming here from Germany, they give warnings about traveling to the United States because many states aren't welcoming as places in Europe. Like there's certain things when we teach about American exceptionalism that just flat out aren't true. And I think people are scared to say that, but I'm not, because I feel like the most American thing you could do is spit in the face of your government.
And see, that's to me where the conservatives really, really lose me, is their critique of the government is the only good critique of the government. Whereas if you're critiquing the government from the left, they view you as something like un-American or and that's it's majority not the case. It just means like, dog, the flag means something different to you than it does to me, but it's still under the veil of the flag, right? Or under the veil of what America is. And what is not American other than the being able to freely criticize your government. And I think that's the biggest thing is you should be able to criticize your government without the desire to want to leave where you're from.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and without it being considered un-American to do so. I mean,
unpatriotic,
I
yeah.
think it is patriotic to say what you're doing right now is the antithesis of freedom. Like I think that having, like, for instance, in Texas, when you couldn't get, it's changed now, but you like 3 years ago, you couldn't get alcohol on a Sunday
You still can't.
before noon.
Yeah, you still can't in Texas.
Yeah, I think it's 10 now, right?
I don't think you can.
But liquor stores still can't be open. You don't have legalized betting. You don't have marijuana usage that's legalized.
Shout out to Tim Walz.
There's so many things across the American government. And you're like, it's not freedom.
Right.
And it's okay to say that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the role of the government should be to help citizens who are the most persecuted classes, for example, like the underrepresented should be the ones that the government seeks out to help. But that's not what we're seeing across the board. Like, the government has shifted from what I think should have been for protecting the minority, because the Bill of Rights doesn't matter to people, like, really, for me and Big T. Like, because we're not going to have white male voted against interest for the most part. It hasn't been that way in American history, and it's not that way now. It is.
What say you, Big T?
Wait. So say that again?
The Bill of Rights is not designed for the majority. The Bill of Rights is designed for the minority, because the majority will always have the ability to vote. You have, like, let's say, I believe that the Bill of Rights right now applies more to people who are in the vast minority of any political position. Like, for example, even though I obviously disagree, a Nazi should be able to say Nazi shit in America and not have, like, criminal shit. So freedom of speech, for example, I know a lot of liberals.
Well, that's what it's designed for, though.
Right. Like, I know a lot
You
of.
don't need to protect popular opinions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's my point. Like, the ACLU, there's a lot of liberals that were pissed when they filed a lawsuit on behalf of a white supremacist group because it was a freedom of speech thing. I think that's intellectual consistency whenever you do that. And I believe that people like that are in the trans community, that is where the Bill of Rights should apply more. And it's for people that really need the protection of the government, instead of passing laws to essentially persecute the people that are in that minority.
I agree. That's a great grandstand, but no, I do agree. But I think your perspective is unique because it's coming from if I say that shit, you know, people hearing this, you're just a fucking ex-NFL athlete, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But when people like yourself said that served in the military, and you have a unique perspective of the government, because my criticism of the government comes from a very outsider looking in perspective. But yours, you know the government in a different light than I do, and all I could do is read about shit, right? You actually experienced a lot of the stuff that I've read about, but came to the same conclusion. So I think it's in my opinion, it's a very unique perspective and a needed perspective, because a lot of times when you, especially from my vantage point, if you criticize the government or you criticize military actions, it's all of a sudden, oh, you're anti-military, or you don't support the troops, or that's not, none of that shit is the case. It's just like, dog, when you have CIA papers coming out 60 years later saying they are literally sabotaging elections, literally sabotaging local governments and people, and that's evil shit.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
And then they're surprised by some of the backlash. And when you go to other places in the world and like, yo, America is not a good place and they are the terrorists, people feel like that. And rightfully so. They've
like,
done
it's shocking when you go to a different country, and if you spend a significant time. Okinawa is a great example. We took an airfield, multiple airfields in Okinawa in World War II. We kept those.
Right.
Like, we are one of the only countries that goes into a place, and once we fought a war there and we're winning, we're taking a fucking base.
Mm-hmm.
We still have one in Al-Assad, the huge air base that's in Iraq. We're never going to give that up.
Right.
Like, never.
Right.
So people in Okinawa, I lived there for 4 years, and they hated us being there. Like, if not right by the base, because that's where they're going to get their money. They're going to get money from Americans and then know it. You go out to other parts where the bases aren't right there, they do not like Americans at all, because they're viewed as occupiers. Like, there used to be protests outside the base America's occupiers leave Okinawa.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again.
Godzilla is a Japanese made depiction of what they viewed America as. So that big monster that comes in and destroys the town, that was made in the depiction of America. That's what America is in their eyes.
Yeah.
And of course we bastardize that anyway, but it's that is that is some views out there in the world of America, and it's not unwarranted. Like a lot of the criticism worldwide of America isn't unwarranted. And I think that having that lens on as an American is important to being an American. Like you don't have this, we're not this bald eagle flying around liberating everybody. Like America's done a lot of great shit, but America's done a lot of bad shit. And I think just having that balance of understanding, what your trail has been as a country, I think it's important.
Yeah. And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico / San Diego, California.
Okay. So Big T, when you were growing up, can you imagine someone not saying America is currently the best country in the world? Like, it just wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, not really.
I grew up in a household where that was the case.
Where it was the case? Yeah. So I think it's different. Like,
Yeah.
your perspective is different based on your socioeconomic background, your race, your gender, your sexual preference.
Yep.
Your American experience is different. So, like, my guy Connor, my co-host Connor on Zero Block 30, I think he is that guy where you look at who's a patriot, American, like everything about America is great. I think it's the greatest country in the world in every single aspect. He's that kind of guy.
Right.
I don't want to put words in his mouth where he say that about everything, but a vast majority of stuff he feels that way. Where I don't feel that way.
Right.
Like, I feel like we need to fix a lot of major shit, and I want to fix it because I want to say that America is the best at everything.
Right.
But now I don't feel like I can say that. Like, there's certain things that America does now that I'm like, damn, man, we really need to fix that. Like targeting laws, for example. Trans kids is a huge issue for so many states across the board. I think there was 78 different bills that were introduced in the last Texas legislature
That's crazy.
to target these kids.
That's
and
crazy.
they had one of the main, I think it was the Secretary of Education that came in, and they were like, how many, for banning from sports, how many trans kids in the state of Texas are currently playing sports that this new law would affect? And the number was 7.
Yeah.
7 kids out of the entirety of Texas. But most of the laws, I think 1/3 of the laws that were introduced in Texas had to deal with that.
See, and that's why that's where you blame. I think you blame the leaders, right? The leaders of our government and the representatives, I should say, of our government. They are falling victim to an algorithmic outcry. And that is the biggest shit that I see as a detriment. Like, let's put it in perspective. Let's put like rationality first. Like, you don't need to run as a Republican on any trans issue because it's such a minuscule amount of people that are affected by it. And that should never be even on your platform ticket if it's not at the bottom of the ring.
And the information about those issues is so unbelievably ignorant. Like, everybody's like, oh, you're going to castrate these kids, or you're doing gender reassignment surgery on kids. That shit doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, there's hardly any cases of anybody under 18 having gender reassignment surgery.
But that's why I think it's the hyperbolic nature of our political climate, and to where it's not. But did you see that woman running in, I think it's Missouri, where she was like, what was that woman boxer from Algeria had just beat that girl from Italy, and then one of her things was like, bleep this out, but just give me one of those things. But she was like, these need their own category, and it was just like, this is what you're sending, like this, you're running for office doing this. Like, it's insane, dog. And it's just like, but it's just like all hyperbole, and you're doing it for clicks and you're doing it for views to try to drum up like momentum for your, and she ended up losing anyway. I think the results she
got 7%.
Yeah,
of the
she
vote.
like lost her race, but that's people think that they have to run on that. You don't have to run on that.
But think about that. Think about that 7%.
That's
like almost 1 out of every 10 people heard what she say and be like, hell yeah.
Yeah, it was like, I think she got like almost 10,000 votes in her district. But the thing is, like, it drummed up so much attention on social media, and it was thousands and thousands of I remember 100,000 people that like that shit. But we don't, as a country, need that to be. We need to tone it back. We need to take a step back, bro. Like, how passionate do you feel about this shit?
And
like,
stop acting like you care about shit that you don't care about.
It's the algorithm, bro.
And that, I mean, it is the algorithm in a big way. And I think people want to have a group outrage. Like, there's certain shit that I just don't care about, and I'm not going to act like I care about it.
Yeah.
And I wish that other people, that issues that don't affect you, is like, they're at the height right now. Like, to be totally honest, my kid's non-binary. Part of the reasons why I came to Chicago is so I could leave those laws. And it is.
What does that mean, non-binary? A lot of this shit confuses me because, like, I always tell my sister, because she's the fuck is she? She's bisexual, and she says queer. I don't even know what none of this shit means, right? And, like, I just don't deem it my responsibility to understand. I'm an ally. Whatever we got to do, let's do it. But, like, I think what frustrates people sometimes is, like, if you get it wrong and they deem that as disrespect, right? And so it's like, it's hard for me to keep up with what's going on, because I'm not interested in it. I'm not trying to stop you from doing it, but I'm trying to. So, like, what is non-binary? What does that mean? So
non-binary is a person who doesn't ascribe to normal or traditional gender roles.
Okay.
So it's really hard to kind of explain,
right,
because with these people, they don't feel like they fit the traditional male or female or boy girl category. They feel something different, and I'm not non-binary, so I don't relate with that.
Right.
But it was from the time my kid was like 3, it was very apparent that they were different, like they're, and not different in a bad way, but just different. And this kid has gone through so much shit by being in Texas. And it's hard as a parent too, because people, one of the main chirps I get online is like, you push your kid into this. Trust me, you never want your kid to have things more difficult than they need to be.
Right, yeah.
Nobody that's like the parent of a trans kid is like, hell yes, brother, let's do this. And I got to change this kid at a young age to make them trans. You don't want to do that.
Right.
You know that your kid is trans, and then you're going on that journey with them that is going to be very difficult. Like, this is one of the only issues under the sun in America where people go against the American Association of Pediatrics. So many of the major medical boards say this is the appropriate care, and it's because they're not, like, it's difficult for these kids to be accepted.
Right.
Like, and it's issues that you don't even really think about, like that are incredibly complex, that you're dealing with people who have feelings and emotions. And
this is like, so because I'm with you, right? But I want to play devil's advocate just for the sake of conversation, because I understand what you're saying, but I think a lot of people would argue that parents may not push it on kids, but again, this is not my argument. I'm playing devil's advocate. Parents may not push it on kids, but having people around, or having people around, like, for instance, they would say, like, this is not my argument though, but like the drag queen story or shit like that, having kids around those kind of vibes may push them towards or experimenting with other things where they normally would have not. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I think there's some truth to that, but like I said, it's not my argument.
So here's what it is, like, my view. And again, I'm not a part of the trans community. I'm just a dad of a trans kid.
Right.
So for us, it was, once you hear something, for example, like, let's say you're a gay kid in 1945. Being a gay kid in 1945 certainly existed.
Oh yeah.
And the numbers were probably about the same that they are now. The acceptance rate and the modeling of that and making it acceptable, same thing, interracial marriage. Like, you didn't see that a whole lot in the 50s because it was taboo. when things become less and less taboo, you see how absolutely normal those kind of things are.
Mm-hmm.
When a kid or when a person learns about something and it clicks, like this is, oh shit, there is a term for this. This is what I'm experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
That was my experience with
The
my
lexicon caught up with the culture.
and you could almost see like, shit, this is kind of how I feel. Like this is what I am. Like, and you can attach a word to it where it's an explanation of an internal feeling, who you are in your own individual personhood, and it's an outward expression of that in terminology that makes people across the board kind of know
and then,
what you're
and
saying.
then community.
Right.
And then community as well. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. Like, I like I said, I being, black and being around black folks, they're very, I won't say all of them, but a lot of my experience with black folks is a very conservative mindset. And so with gay and with trans stuff, I think there's a lot of Americans that are really closed off to those kind of conversations and side more with the conservative side of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I used to feel like that. I had a conversations with a trans woman on my podcast. It was like 2017, and that changed my mind to where I was like, dude, I do this, girls like, what are you talking about, right? But it's me understanding the actual, like the literature behind it, understanding like gender dysphoria, like actually reading about this stuff, like with all those medical institutions and what they're saying, and it painted a more nuanced picture, and I was more okay. That does make sense. On top of the fact that I just didn't care that much because like I believe you can do whatever the fuck you want to do as long as you ain't bothering nobody.
And that's what I say. Like when people say I don't get it, I don't understand, you don't have to.
Yeah, I don't.
Like that's what's none of your business. None of your business.
No.
I'm not a gay dude. I don't understand how other dudes are attracted to. Well, I understand it, but that's not my lived experience.
Right.
So I don't know what being gay feels like because I'm not gay. I don't give a fuck if you're gay.
Right.
It's the same thing across the board for me. As long as you're not infringing on the rights of an other, I think that's what the standard should be. Like if I infringe upon your rights, then I think that's wrong. Other than that, what I'm doing, what my family's doing, should not matter to you at all.
Yeah, and I'm 1,000% agreement. I wish most Americans saw it that way, but I mean, I think fundamentally people just disagree with the premise of it, and because of that, they like I hear Candace Owens talking about that all the time about she's like it's a mental disorder, and even if that's how you feel, I think saying it like that is just broadly disrespectful because, and anytime you enter a conversation and you come in with the, even if it's not intentional disrespect, you're not gonna go nowhere with that conversation. So like I always come in and like try to just understand where people are coming from because it's not gonna affect my day. Black, white, Christian, Muslim, I don't really care as long as you good people, you my people. So
and I think a lot of what you're talking about, like the bite back of folks, is online. Like and same thing like me and Big T. If we're gonna have a conversation on politics online, it's probably gonna be more visceral reactions than we would when we can have a civil discussion in person.
Right.
I think it's a lot of things that people don't understand, or they don't traditionally hasn't been what's quote normal across the board. They have an issue with that, which I also get because in full disclosure, I wrote a blog in, I think it was like 2016 about non-binary. And I was like, how the fuck can somebody have they, them personality?
Oh, really?
Like, pronouns. Wow. Yeah. And whenever I talked about my kid for the first time, the editor at the time, Coley, used to be on this show.
No, Coley,
He asked me if I wanted to take that blog down because he had remembered me writing it. And I was like, you know what? I don't. I want it to stay up because I think it shows that I learned more.
Growth.
I learned more about it and my position changed.
Right.
And like they, them. I think that's one thing that people really struggle with non-binary. Like, how is they, them? So I phrase it like this. If you had an Uber driver, you didn't know their gender, that came up to your door and knocked on the door, and you were going to have your spouse or who else, you would say, the Uber driver's here. They're at the door.
Yeah, they're at the door.
That's a singular person.
Yeah.
Like, who's here? It's the plumber. They're going to be fixing this.
Yeah.
You know, like if you don't see somebody and know them, that's how you're going to respond. It is a singular noun too.
Like I said, I don't. None of that. I'll address you however you want to be, because like to me it's very akin to, because I grew up Muslim, right, and it was like the black section of Muslim, like FOI, Fruit of Islam, so like under Elijah Muhammad, those kind of Muslims, right, and so under that tutelage, like Malcolm X, he changed his name, right, he used to be I think Malik Al-Shabazz, no, not Malik, he was what was his name? I forget his real name. It's escaping right, but he changed it to Malcolm X, right? And so Muhammad Ali, he used to be Cassius Clay, changed it to Muhammad Ali, and so it was very prevalent.
Cinder.
Yeah, it was very prevalent for Muslims to change their name because they believe that you should not take the name of your slave master. Like that was the basis of it. And so I grew up around a bunch of Muslims that changed their name, and it was considered very disrespectful if you don't address me by the name that I'm asking you to change me. Like I no longer identify with that lineage of people that you like to foster. That was a slave name that was passed down through generations in my family, right? And so originally those people didn't feel like, the group of the people I grew up in didn't feel like it was respectful to our ancestors to carry a slave master's name, and so they would change their names, and it was very disrespectful, like call me. And then that's remember Joe Louis, he was like his mom named him Cassius, so I'm gonna call him Cassius, and every time he was in the ring he would hit him and say, what's my name? Bah, what's my name?
Yeah.
Bah, what's my name? So it was very disrespectful. And so to me, I liken it to that because I have experience with wanting to identify with something that you're no longer a part of or whatever you feel, right? And so anytime anybody tells me their pronouns, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. How would you like me to address you so that you know I'm not trying to disrespect you? To me, that's where the conversation starts. I may or may not agree on anything else, but I'm at least going to give you the respect of calling me what you want me to call you. Like even like a woman changing her last name in marriage. Same shit. If you Mrs. Williams now, okay, you Mrs. Williams. I'm not gonna be like, yeah, but you was born a Ross, bro. So I'm gonna call you a Ross. It is
right.
what it like. Nah, that's what you want to change your name to. That's what's up.
Yeah, and I think the Muhammad Ali example is great because that's who his identity is. Part of who his personhood was that big change because being Muslim to him was so valuable and it was so central to his life. I think. And that's a version of what the LGBTQ community would consider like a dead name. To him, Cassius Clay was a dead name, not something that he wanted to identify. It's not who he is. And you have, like, if there is a trans person that changes their name or don't, they use their proper pronouns.
Right.
What's in the past was in the past.
Yeah.
You can recognize, like, there's pictures of my kid before when they're younger. Recognize that's still my kid, right. But also understand this is my kid now is right. Who they are authentically, and that's how I'm going to treat them. And one of the biggest things in that, sorry to go on these tangents, if you do know people and if you are a parent, this was pointed out to me months after everything, and I said, I'm going to love you no matter what. No matter what, I'm going to love you. In that no matter what, there is like a loaded part, despite what this action is, despite who you are, I am going to continue to love you. And that puts the onus on yourself. Like, I'm doing a good thing here. When the correct answer is simply, I love you.
Yeah. 1,000. I told my kid all the time, bro, you can murder somebody. I can't stop loving you. I can detest what you've done.
Right.
Mourn for the family. Hope this never happens, but I'm gonna be there for you. I'll put money on your books. Like I'm gonna visit you.
You're gonna have some honey buns.
Yeah, we gonna have to talk about how you gonna try to make it right somehow. Like, you know what I'm saying? I could detest it, but I'm still gonna love you though. You mine it forever. But speaking of Muhammad Ali, he refused to go to the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
He refused to go, which to me is one of the most valiant. He walked and talked the talk. Like, he was with the shits. He refused to fight another man's war who he disagreed with the premise, number one, but number two, he said, I don't have equal rights here. Why am I going to try to take away another man's rights at another place? So he wouldn't do it.
And I think that's incredibly American. Being a conscious objector is American.
Yeah. And he did it at the height of it. We're talking about arguably the greatest boxer of all time. He did it at the height of his career.
It's courage.
Which was insane to me. Like, he's one of the best athletes of all time, and in the prime of his career, he said I was like 2 years in jail or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
long time. Yeah.
So he paid his dues and actually paid the consequences of his political belief system, which is probably why he'll forever be a legend.
Yeah, for sure.
That
was not Vietnam talk.
it was.
Wait,
It was,
did
it was
he-
a
But you
bit,
circled
man.
it. You circled it back around.
Yeah,
you
tried-
circled
tried.
it.
It wasn't
Yeah.
bad, right? Did he
Somebody's
go-
been on a
Wrap
microphone
that
for a long time.
motherfucker up, dog.
Did he
yeah.
go to jail?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah.
I think for like maybe a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah,
Yeah, he's in jail for a while.
yeah.
I'm seeing he stayed out of prison while appealing the decision to the Supreme Court where his conviction was overturned.
For how long was it? Because I thought he went to jail.
I see he was convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison.
I thought he spent like I could be wrong. It's been years.
I just
ago.
never heard of him going to jail.
Yeah, it could maybe we could check that later.
Yeah,
but
maybe I've just seen the 5-year conviction thing.
it could be the case. I don't think I looked that deep into it. If there's anything else we had on Vietnam, it was probably the most controversial war of all time. I think we objectively lost that war, right?
Yeah.
They used tactics that are kind of synonymous with the name, right? Guerrilla warfare was they like used to dig holes in grounds and like hand-to-hand combat, which was just very unique because they were obviously outgunned and had different, the inferior weapons to everybody that they were fighting. So there's a lot more. This was a heavier topic than when we first were like, hey, let's do the Vietnam War. Cool. There's so much to get to the French occupation, the Japanese involvement, the JFK's involvement, and him possibly wanting to pull out. Like, there's a whole bunch to get to, but I think tackling it in one episode, I don't think would do it justice. And it's just not my bag enough to like expound on every single aspect of that. And what's fascinating to me about history and especially wars is that the compound effect of every single decision that happens leads into all these other different things, different resolutions, different bills that are passed, different, political alignments. It's just a trickle down effect, and a lot of different things happen because of this war.
And you quickly establish precedent,
Yes.
what happened, this accord that we just talked about here, that was basically the foundation of the Patriot Act.
Yes.
Like, there's so many similarities between the Patriot Act and what happened in Vietnam, where the executive branch essentially took power.
Yeah.
You have the ability to declare war, a proxy war for 30 days. The fact that we had a 20-year war and was never a formal declaration from Congress is crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
Like, that's a direct violation of the Constitution.
That's
direct.
wild. Which is why you said that. I don't know what outlet you said that. It says we're a struggling democracy.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty accurate, man. Big T, what's up, man?
I don't know, big dog. Did you know about the elephant hunting?
Tell me about the
Bro,
elephant.
they were the helicopters were shooting elephants.
Big T was respectful, quiet.
Yeah. He knows his lane. It's all good.
There were some elephants that were transporting supplies for the Viet Cong.
Right.
So the U.S. told helicopter pilots, if you see an elephant, kill it. And so people who had elephants that weren't doing that had to get their elephants out because all the elephants were getting drone striked.
That's wild. You probably like that, right? Probably like that, right?
Why?
You're not a Bama fan.
Oh, good. Yeah. No, that's true.
Get them things out of here.
I didn't draw that connection.
Also, there was a thing on the sheet was talking about how Frank Lucas was a massive drug dealer back in the day. American Gangster with Denzel Washington was depicted after Frank Lucas, and apparently he said he only did one, but that a lot of folks did this. That they were transporting heroin and different kind of narcotics through the coffins of the dead bodies from the American soldiers that were coming back from over there. So I thought that was super interesting as well.
And one more thing, going back to the LGBTQ conversation, when you said that sometimes it's scary and intimidating because the phrases are constantly changing.
Right.
I made the mistake. Like, I'm around the community all the time, and I said gender reassignment surgery, and the actual phrase should be gender affirming care.
Oh, yeah. See, I didn't know that either. Yeah. So,
or like confirmation surgery.
yeah. No, I respect the fact that you're willing to talk about it openly, especially to a Barstool audience, man. No disrespect to the Barstool audience, but I mean, traditionally, y'all lean a little right. Let's just be honest.
I would say when I did, my reputation at Barstool became wildly different from the fans.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of like the Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan, like Republicans buy shoes too.
That's your moment.
It was like, well, I just probably alienated 60% of our audience at least.
Yeah, you know, it happens, man.
But that's okay. I think that's I mean, like what Big T did, even though we like, you're quiet. I wish that most people had that. Like,
Right.
because if it doesn't matter to you,
Right.
just be quiet about it.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't have to have an opinion on everything.
Yeah, and I feel you. Yeah, I think the Barstool experience has been interesting to me because I think I get lots and lots of messages that echo the sentiment of, hey, I'm not around like a lot of black people. I'm not around a lot of like your ideology. I'm right. I've been right. I still am right. And I don't agree with what you say a lot, but I appreciate how you and Big T have the relationship you do. I appreciate how you guys have the conversations. And, you know, sometimes they got heated early on, but I think we both realized like that it's not conducive to any kind of diplomatic relationship. And so like I think people that normally would have not given somebody like me a listen because of how I feel and what I think has been a good like synergy between like a Barstool audience that is a little probably more open-minded. Now, mind you, there's people out there who didn't give me a chance from day one, and even though they love PFT, they just like, fuck that guy. That's what's up. But like for the people that stayed around and like tried something different, and for the people that were left-leaning in general, they finally, I think they can, you know, have somebody that in the Barstool world that's like open and talking about like yourself too. It's just like I think it's a dope synergy and it needs to happen more, especially because as these algorithms continue to become these monsters, dog. I think we need to find ways to talk to each other. And for the love of God, for the love of Big T's God, please stop worshiping these fucking politicians, dog. Vote for who you want to vote for. I don't care, dog. But stop buying merch. This shit's it's dumb, bro. It's just not like the bumper stickers and it doesn't help anything or anybody, man. Just vote for who you want to vote for. Love the policies, but like, it's got blow up dolls and shit. That shit's weird, dog. It's weirdo shit.
And I would just say, find some empathy. Like I think there's such a lack of empathy.
The irony in that statement's hilarious. Find some empathy.
Yeah, find
Oh
it.
fuck where you find it.
Yeah.
Find that shit. So.
Yeah, I'm for radical inclusion.
That's facts, man. Shout out to you radical centrists out there. Nah, man. Chaps, I appreciate you coming on again, man.
Yeah.
Again, for the people who don't like Love Island, go ahead. I apologize, but we are going to give a disclaimer. Go ahead and skip past that part. But as you can see, we got some passionate folks behind it, and it was one of the most toxic things I've ever.
Everyone should watch it.
Yeah,
it's the best show.
It's one of the most toxic shits I've ever done, and I enjoyed every minute of it. But no, we always appreciate you coming on, man. I think I love having these conversations with you. Like we can go off on tangents all day.
Yeah, for sure.
I rock with you heavy, man. So we will see y'all next. Do we have any housekeeping, or are we good?
Don't think so.
Also, if you'd have
Tuesday.
told me in 2012 that we would get along after you were a Texan guy and I was a Jags fan
Yeah.
for my whole life,
Yeah.
I'd have been like, no,
Yeah, I used to
That
bust
guy.
their ass.
this dude just got Paul Plesnesny out of his shoes.
Hey, so he hit me probably the second hardest I've ever got hit in the league.
Really?
Yeah, he knocked the shit out of me. It was on a pass block. He didn't get to the quarterback because I'm just a bigger body. But boy, he sat me down.
But you ate him though whenever it was a swing
Yeah,
pass.
he couldn't touch me.
No, he was terrible in pass coverage.
He couldn't touch me. But that boy, he brought that fire. He brought that fire. All right, man. We will see y'all next Tuesday. I'm sure PFT will be back from Mordor then now. No?
Yes.
Supposed to be.
All
He
right.
should be.
Yeah, so I'm sure he'll have a Precious in his pocket.
Facts.
Lord of the Rings talk. But I appreciate y'all, man. Much love. We'll catch y'all next week, man.